dah attend itu basic dengan intermediate. So sebelum kita teruskan ini sessions, saya nak cuba nak imbas kembali lah apa yang dibelajar 2 minggu yang dulu dan sebagainya, untuk pastikan yang YB dah lebih kurang dah faham apa itu business interruption atau itu con loss, sebelum kita lanjutkannya ya. Okey, ada dua perkara yang YB mesti buat lah ya. So kalau itu jawapan YB ingat itu yang betul, itu tak ada masalah. So kalau betul kita cuba mungkin jelaskan lebih mendalam lah ya. Tapi kalau itu soalan bila YB tengok itu yang salah, okey, so kalau yang salah kita cuba betulkan lah. So ini soalan saya akan kemukakan kepada YB ya untuk jawab lah betul atau salah. So there's no right or wrong answer. Meaning is that let's see the question individually lah ya. But don't worry, I make sure that I don't confuse your mind. Kebanyakan itu soalan yang saya kemukakan, kebanyakan semua betul lah. Saya tak mau semua masuk salah nanti you pun kepala pening juga, right? So maybe one or two I will just put as the wrong answer. So I want you to make sure that you are able to correct the wrong answer. Okay? So if you are okay, can I get a go ahead from you people? YB? Okay, as I say, you need to keep your finger busy, keep your keyboard busy, keep your mic busy. Right, so if it's okay, can I see some thumbs up sign from you? All right, good. So I tell you what, I won't be calling your name lah sebab you punya nama banyak sana kan. So saya akan kemukakan ini soalan sesiapa lah ya. Sama ada daripada Kota Baru, Kementerian, sesiapa kalau you ada itu jawapan lah, you cuba jawab lah. Okay, so jangan risau itu jawapan salah, jangan risau. Kalau salah kita betulkan saja ya. Alright, so let's try to recap and see what we have learned over that last few weeks pertaining to the basic and intermediate. Alright, so the first one, okay, siapa nak jawab sajalah ya. Alright, the first one here, I believe that you have been informed semua ini con loss policy. Okay, before that we will use the word fire con loss lah ya. Sebab ini con loss ada 3 itu perkataan yang kita boleh gunakan ya. Yang pertama kita panggil itu fire con loss. Yang kadang-kadang kita panggil itu business interruption, okay? Yang ketiga kadang-kadang kita panggil itu loss of profit. So bagi ini kelas kita panggil fire con loss sajalah ya. So later on jangan confuse apa itu BI, apa itu LOP dan sebagainya. Okay, so according to these requirements under this con loss, it must be accompanied by a material damage policy ya. So now this material damage policy, saya nak tanya sama ada ini material damage mesti fire policy saja atau boleh termasuk itu all risk policy sekali. Okay, come, can I hear from you, YB? Anyone? Come on, let's hear from you. Cuba saja. Betul atau salah? Come on, YB, let's hear from you. Still early morning. As I say, this is something that you need to speak out to share. Yeah, okay. Betul lah. Okay, Susan says betul. Yasmin says betul. Alright, so betul lah. Right, since you say betul, let's expand a little bit. Okay, ini betul lah ya. Okay, the word they use is material damage. The con loss don't mention that the policy must be accompanied by a fire policy number. They don't mention the word fire. Okay, so the word is material damage as long as there's any physical damage to the property caused by the fire element. So ini all risk policy okay, since you say betul lah, ini all risk policy macam mana kita nak apply? In what scenario that you think this all risk policy may apply? Dia mungkin tak ada fire policy, dia hanya ada all risk policy saja. Apa bisnes yang biasa ni yang mungkin ada all risk saja, dia tak boleh fire. Example, okay, since let's see since Yasmin, Susan, you want to try Susan? Since you say yeah. Then what the insurer? Okay, I tell you what, there's a long list of agency name here. Kalau boleh lah, siapa yang boleh jawab? All risk policy. What kind of business they may only buy a all risk policy rather than just a fire? Apa jenis perniagaan biasanya? Do you think those like macam itu IT based company? IT? Okay, so come, let me hear from you. Those who can speak out. Can I hear something from you, YB? Boleh? Apa jenis perniagaan yang biasanya mungkin beli all risk saja? fire, mungkin dia tak beli fire. Any business? So today, if you are going to market this con loss to, let's say, one of the IT-based company lah, IT-based Now, IT, kebanyakan dia punya equipment dekat office, semua komputer. Okay? Basically, they're all computers. So, kalau semua computerized example, kebanyakan mungkin beli all risk policies. Okay, kalau fire saja susah, dia nak beli fire, dia nak beli itu burglary untuk dia punya equipment, itu macam tak sesuai lah. Okay, so kalau dia nak cover semua sekali the all risk policy will be the more appropriate one. Sorry, I can hear some music behind. Apa?
Phonic.
Okay, right. Okay, so itu all risk Now take note, ini all risk, kita ada 3 itu perils So yang pertama kita cover itu fire, yang kedua itu theft, yang ketiga itu accidental damage So kalau dia masukkan ini all risk dengan con loss sekali, kita hanya akan hanya berdasarkan kepada itu fire element saja. Alright, so if let's say tomorrow there's a break-in due to theft, example, so if the thief damage all their equipment causes interruption to their business, itu theft kita tak cover. Okay, then itu impact, itu accidental damage pun itu kita tak cover. Kita hanya cover kalau itu berhasil daripada kebakaran atau itu peril saja. Okay, so there's an example. Material damage can also means any other policy that covers against any physical damage to the building. Of course, the fire will be the main one. Okay, right. So ini soalan. Okay, lagi satu saya nak tanya. Ini con loss, kita mesti ada fire lah. Okay, so kalau beli fire saja boleh tak? Okay, can I hear something from you? Message also can. If I were to buy just a standalone fire, boleh tak? Boleh, can also. But YB, since the fire is in your hands already, I want to strongly encourage you to try to zoom into the con loss itself. Because I tell you, con loss is a niche market. Banyak agent, I would say lah, banyak agent yang saya tanya, kebanyakan tak jual con loss. So bila saya tanya dia mengapa tak jual con loss, yang pertama dia cakap, saya tak faham itu con loss. Bila customer tanya saya itu sum insure macam mana, aku tak faham, aku tak boleh jelaskan. So since now you have already gone through the whole of this training process to sell this con loss, take this advantage, ambil peluang ini untuk cuba jual itu con loss. Nombor satu, tadi Mr. He cakap, mungkin you boleh dapat itu lebih commission lah ya. But commission is one thing lah. When you sell, it's not just because of commission. When you sell, because you want the benefits for your customer. Okay, so kalau customer tanya mengapa saya mesti beli con loss, okay, so now I just want to ask you the same question since you people say YB, since you're already familiar with this con loss, kalau lah katakan kalau saya tak beli con loss dan macam mana? Anyone? Kalau saya tak beli? Most of the time they will tell you lah the benefit of having a con loss, right? Not so. Never mind. I will share with you the benefit first. Later on, I will tell you apakah kesudahannya, okay, kalau dia tak beli itu con loss. So first thing first, like I say, when you push the con loss itu premium mungkin 3-4 kali berganda lebih daripada fire tau. Example itu all risk example mungkin itu premium lah, katakan 5,000 saja. Tapi kalau itu business semua macam services punya business dia punya business besar, dia punya sales is tinggi itu con loss sum insure can be like 10 million 20 million and premium 100,000 is nothing kalau dia punya business tinggi. Okay, so you try to push through the con loss. Number one, as I say, it will definitely help you to increase your sales, and number two, it will also helps the customers a lot. Okay, kalau customer tanya, saya sudah ada fire policy, so ini con loss tak perlulah, nanti itu fire saya boleh claim itu fire, dan lepas itu saya boleh start saya punya business. Setuju atau tak setuju? Come on, Rabi, let me hear from you. Say something. Anyone? Don't be shy. This is a session for us to share. Okay. So if you can say something, I would appreciate that. Kalau you type pun boleh lah, tapi type ambil masa kan ya. So kalau you boleh bersembang dekat ini mikrofon lagi baik. Anyone? customer will tell you, I already have my fire policy, so why should I take up a con loss? I just wait for my fire claim, then after that, I will just, I can restart my business. Anyone want to try? Okay, client will have to absorb the loss. Okay, this is from 42042. Okay, business interruption will be longer. Okay, good. Any more? Okay, so basically it's like that. I'm not sure whether your basic intermediate session did mention, but anyway, just a quick refresh lah. Now, kebanyakan yang beli tu fire, dia tak beli con loss. So, biasanya bila suruh dia beli con loss, dia bagi ni alasan lah, saya ada fire policy mah. Okay, ini fire, jangan lupa tahu, ini fire kalau on reinstatement basis, biasanya kita takkan bayar dulu sampai itu bangunan atau machinery sudah digantikan atau sudah dinaikkan semula, baru kita akan bayar. Remember, reinstatement is only when we pay when the property has been fully reinstated. So kalau itu bangunan ambil 6 bulan atau 1 tahun untuk dibaik atau dinaikkan semula, ini 1 tahun, ini fire belum bayar. Okay, reinstatement only bayar when it's fully reinstated. So during this 1 year, dan macam mana? Okay, so kalau dia tak ada sales, tak ada turnover, tak ada gross profit, dia mungkin kena tanggung lagi banyak itu expenses yang dia perlu bayar dulu. You see that? So kalau dia ada itu con loss, biasanya con loss kalau fire dah mengakui itu kebakaran, con loss kita ada satu itu apa yang kita panggil itu clause payment on account. We will make an upfront payment. And upfront, let's say like 20%, okay, based on your whatever books of accounts, we make a 20% upfront, so that with the 20% upfront, they can at least temporarily get their business moving, okay, elsewhere. Di tempat yang sudah terbakar itu dia tak boleh buat apa. So kalau dia dapat sebahagian itu wang itu upfront payment, dia boleh gunakan itu wang untuk sewa satu tempat sementara untuk menguruskan dia punya itu proses. You know, then at the same time I can help them to maybe buy some raw materials. They can bring in equipment. They can lease the equipment at least to get their business moving during the interruption period. Okay, right. Ini satu soalan saja pun dah banyak, bercerita. Okay, so I hope you get an idea. Okay, let's see. Unpredictable. Okay, let's see some. Okay, it takes time while waiting for your fire claim. Betul. So then de-insure. That is your agency name. Perhaps you may want to tell me you are Mr. or Miss something, so I can address you. Boleh tak de-insure? So anyway, I write down your agency name. Just let me know you are Mr. or Miss. Okay, siapa tulis sini? Okay, this is from MB. Okay, unpredictable loss happen, need to bear on their own. Okay, another consequence is that, like I says, fire takkan bayar dulu. Fire hanya bayar untuk itu kehilangan daripada segi fizikal saja. Tapi con loss kita akan bayar daripada segi keuangan. So itu lainnya. So anyway, later on I will share with you on the benefits or rather the consequences of not having the con loss. Okay, so far so good. All right, so let's move on to the second one. Right, the fire consequential loss covers the intangible in the form of loss of gross profit, gross revenue, or gross rental. Betul atau salah? Or miss? Miss one the insure. You just put miss only. Can I have your name, Miss? The insure? Okay, yang kedua, betul atau salah? Ini con loss ada 3 jenis ini, gross profit, gross revenue, and gross rental. Okay, Susan betul Right. In your con loss, bukan hanya gross profit saja. Kebanyakan kali bila kita cakap pasal con loss saja, kebanyakan akan gunakan gross profit. Tak semestinya. Sometimes in con loss, we also use the word gross revenue and also gross rental. Let's say example like an advertising firm itu yang buat iklan dunia, advertising firms, right? Now advertising do you think they use the word gross profit or they use the word gross revenue? Biasanya they use the word revenue, right? Revenue generated. Gross profit is more to those manufacturing where they have a lot of those variable and fixed expenses. Okay, so that's a gross revenue. Okay, sometimes gross profit in the factories, example manufacturing, they don't go by the profit now, they don't go by the sales one, sometimes they go by the output. So for manufacturing, they go according to per unit. So let's say example like sawn timber, they go by how much they make per square feet, and like plywood, they go by per square meter. Sometimes like bottling plant, they go by per bottle, that kind of things. Okay, let's say for agency, example YB agency, you are looking at your own production. Are you looking at the premium generated, or are you looking at the policy that you sell? You tengok itu jumlah premium yang you dah jual, itu premium yang you dapat, atau you tengok itu jumlah policy yang YB jual, mana satu? Okay, so you see example for you, who is this 42042? Okay, if you have responded, very good. I need to know your name so I can address you lah. Okay, ini 42042, apa nama? Okay, same thing. We are looking at the premium generated rather than the number of policies issued lah. So macam gross profit dengan gross revenue sama juga. So kalau kita tengok daripada itu premium yang you generated, we are looking at the gross revenue. Kalau you tengok itu policy yang jual, jumlah policy yang dijual, so biasanya itu kita tengok itu gross profit. Okay, so that's correct. We have these three. Then of course the rental, no issue. This rental is for those rental received, especially for those like Airbnb example. Okay, they rent out or they lease out their apartments and so on. So in return, they receive rental. So any companies who actually involved in this type of leasing or rental kind of business, yes, then this one is under gross rental. Sometimes like example macam kondominium dan sebagainya. Nah ini kondominium mungkin dia ada 200 unit, okay? So dia mungkin jual kepada itu orang lain, itu orang awam, mungkin dia jual 70% saja. Yang 30% dia sendiri akan simpan balik itu untuk disewakan. Alright, so they are actually earning a rental from there. Okay, so that's the three difference. Alright, so we have gross revenue, gross rental and so on. Now, if they don't want to insure this gross profit, dia hanya nak insure itu standing charges saja, boleh tak? Dia tak ada profit, dia hanya nak insure dia punya standing charges. Maksudnya itu cost yang dia kena bayari lah, walaupun business dah terkenal. Can Boleh tak kalau just hanya standing charges? All this I'm sure you have gone through already. Can also, right? So kalau dia punya business macam baru atau mungkin macam itu MCO nanti tahun akhir lah, dia tengok-tengok, oh saya tak ada profit langsung tapi saya kena tanggung banyak itu expenses walaupun business dah terhenti. See, if they want to insure just on standing charges, yes, you also can, no problem. Alright, good. Okay, the third one, gross profit is meant for business that provide services with few variable expenses. Betul atau salah? Gross profit, are they meant for businesses with few variable expenses, which I mentioned just now to you? They are only providing services, macam like office dan sebagainya. Okay, betul? Alright, Susan say betul lah. Good try. Okay, 42042, I'm still waiting for your name, 42042. Okay, ini ini salah ya. Okay, no, correct. So gross profit is meant for those manufacturing where they have a lot of these fixed and variable expenses. Okay, macam kilang dia ada banyak itu expenses lah. Example macam purchase lah, freight lah, transportation lah, salaries lah, okay, macam-macam. So if you are talking about those with services then normally this one we go for the gross revenue. Okay, right, Susan? Okay, Miss Go. Okay, Miss Go. Hi, Miss Go. Thank you, Miss Go. D-Insure, I'm still waiting for your name, D-Insure. Okay, good. Let's go to the next one. Now, is it fine to issue the master policy with three corresponding fire policies covering different subject matter and location issued to the same insured? So, maksudnya ini insured ada satu con-loss, 3 fire. So, ini 3 fire, satu cover building, yang satu machinery, yang lagi satu stock. Okay, 3 policy yang berlainan, cover itu benda yang lain, tapi untuk insured yang sama, lokasi yang sama. Okay tak? Okay, is it okay? 1 con-loss and 3 fire covering different properties at the same location, belonging to the same insured. Boleh tak? Okay, come let me see your. Okay, so Miss Ko say boleh ya. Okay, boleh. Alright, good. Susan also boleh. So far I can see Miss Ko. Okay, Dean Show also can. Right, it's possible. Now, let's say if the con loss is, let's say AXA, you have a con loss policy, right? Maybe you cover the building and also you cover the con loss lah, because the building is charged to the bank, example. So the building is through AXA, okay? Now, the insurer also has another policy with another insurer. They cover their plant and machinery, and then another insurer covering the stock in trade. Okay, so can all these three combine? So anything happens to the machinery there, example, the con loss policy will also be affected? Possible? Mungkin tak? Kalau itu machinery dengan stock, okay, policy yang diambil dengan insurer yang lain, tapi kalau kebakaran berlaku, dia punya bisnes semua terhenti. Boleh tak? How do we, okay, it's possible. Okay, Susan, you're right. This one is possible. Now, basically what the other two policies are, what the insurer must do is that the machinery and the stock, which is covered with another insurer example, they need to mention in their fire policy that that one they also issued in conjunction with the con loss policy issued with AXA. Faham? So they need to specify the con loss in the other two policies. Okay, tapi kalau rating katakan itu special rating, boleh semua combine sekali tak untuk macam say special rating, boleh tak? Let's say with AXA, they have let's say maybe a fire. Let's say fire is 5 million, all right? And then the con loss, let's say con loss is 5 million. So this one will come under your self rating lah. So dia punya plant and machinery lagi satu insurer, let's say this one is another let's say 10 million. Then itu stocks let's say stock is 40 million katakan, right? So total 50-60 million. Alright? So ini 60 million ini apa rating? Can I combine them all? Total sum insured is 60 million, and then I go for self rating. I go for special rating. Boleh tak? Okay kan? Let me hear from you. Boleh atau tak boleh? Atau fire dengan con loss 10 million, kita guna tariff rate. Dan itu plant and machinery pun 10 million, kita pun gunakan tariff rate. Dan itu stock in trade 40 million, kita gunakan self rating. Atau kita boleh semua sambungkan sekali jadi 60 juta dan lepas itu kita apply special rating. Boleh tak? Okay, so Susan here say cannot. Alright, anyone else? Okay, so far Susan, thank you very much for your response. Okay, Susan say tak boleh. Yang lain boleh tak boleh? Okay,
boleh.
Let me hear from you. Another one or two response before I address on this one.
Yes.
Okay, better all in one fire policy, Y3 policy. Cheng, sometimes you have no choice, okay? Sometimes it's not that the customer don't want to buy 3 fire policies with you, okay? Now, let me give you an example. Let's say if the building is charged to the bank, right? So the bank will insist that I will arrange the insurance on behalf of the insured, correct or not? So you cannot say anything because it's bank arranged. Then number 2, the machinery, this insured could have got a loan, example, hire purchase or even leasing with another bank. So the other bank also say the same thing. No, I want you to arrange an all-risk policy, or I want you to arrange a separate fire policy, example, right, to cover the plant machine, also can. All right. Then thirdly, the stocks, the insurer may want to insure on his own. So now you see fire on the building with one bank, the machinery through another bank, and then the stock on your own. You see that? So not to say the client don't want to buy all together. Okay, so sometimes the situation is that you may have 3 different 3-4 policies, but covering the same insured, okay, issued to the same insured at the same location, no issue. Okay, so in this case, so I want to share with you is like that. If let's say all combined is 60 million, this one actually qualifies for special rating. Okay, so whoever submit this for special rating, okay, it can be any insurer, right? Submit for special rating. They need to mention all the policies together. Alright, so example, AXA punya fire berapa, con loss berapa, itu plant machinery dengan insurer B berapa, and then stock in trade dengan insurer C berapa, total sum insured 60 juta. So that means all these policies will be using the uniform rate, uniform special rate. Okay, faham? Alright, so if faham, can I get okay sign from you from YB? Boleh tak? Sokong. Yang tak ada tanya soalan pun boleh tak okay, okay, high five. Alright lah, okay, thank you. Honestly I tak nampak sesiapa dekat skrin tau. Saya hanya tengok saya punya skrin, boleh itu reflection saya sendiri saja. So saya harap-harap saya berharga hati lah kalau dia boleh bagi sokongan. Hanya type sajalah okay, high five. Alright, very good. I see a lot okay. Okay, keep it coming. That's what motivates me a lot. Okay, good. Okay, so this is pertaining to that ratings. Okay, yang ini. Now, I'm sure you have also been informed. Okay, for this annual gross profit, katakanlah 5 juta. Okay, gross profit is 9 million. Now, if they decided to choose an indemnity period of 9 months, so the sum insured here should be 3750 pro rata. Betul atau salah? Okay, Cheng say, isn't possible for us to discuss with customer better buy all in one policy? Okay, Cheng, let's say if you are very, very good in able to persuade the client, okay, to buy all from you, I mean, that's good. Why not? Okay, so your persuasive power is important. If you can sway their decision to buy everything from you, why not? Okay, nothing to stop you. But like I say, sometimes because of some contractual obligations, that kind of things, not that the client don't want to buy from you. They say that I want to buy from you, Mr. Cheng, but it's just that the bank's requirement is that because I got a loan from them, they want me to insure through them, you see. So you can, Cheng. I mean, nothing to stop you. Okay, Cheng? I'm not sure Mr. Cheng or Miss Cheng. Anyway, you got a valid point here. So for the rest, sama juga. Kalau you boleh macam, boleh bincang dengan customer, kalau itu insurance semua sekali nak beli dengan YB, why not? Alright, but saya dah katakan tadi, kadang-kadang sebab itu kontrak yang tak mungkin you tak mungkin boleh dapat itu insurance sebab dia ada itu contractual obligation bersama itu bank lah ya. Okay, so this annual gross profit 5 million, they go for IP 9 months, so now the sum insured should be 3750. Betul atau salah? Okay, keep your finger busy. Kalau tak nak bersuara, at least lah type sajalah ya. Okay, betul salah? Okay, so Miss Go say betul lah. Okay, betul. Yeah. Okay, can I have another 2 or 3 more? 2 or 3 more response? Miss Go say okay, boleh. Lagi? Betul. Lagi siapa? Susan not sure is tengah-tengah. Okay, Doreen also say betul. Okay, yang say okay. Alright, for this IP, the minimum is still the annual. So if the annual is 5 million, the means even though they choose an IP of 9 months, we still use that IP. We still use the annual gross profit. Okay, no pro rata. But if any of the indemnity period, let's say, is more than the 12 months, then we will use that more than 12 months accordingly. Faham? Kalau tak sampai 1 tahun, kita gunakan itu annual gross profit lah. Tapi kalau itu IP yang dia gunakan, let's say 18 bulan, so itu sum insured, kita pun ikut 18 bulan. We prorate it to 18 months. Okay, so example, katakan ini gross profit 5 million. So if 5 million, kalau IP 9 months, we still use 5 million. Let's say if they choose an IP of 18 months, okay, let's say 18 months, let's say 24 months easier lah. So if they use a 24 months IP, okay, here divided by 12, so ini sum insured, we go for how much? 10 million. We follow the pro rata accordingly. Okay, faham? Minimum annual gross profit is still the 5 million. Faham? Anything more than 12 months, then we will prorate it according to the 12 months as well. Okay, according to 24 months lah. Ya. Alright. Okay, ada apa soalan berkaitan dengan ini indemnity period? Okay, since you have already been you're familiar with this IP, can you tell me what is this IP? I nak faham lah. Apa itu IP biasanya? Mengapa dia pilih 9 bulan? Mengapa dia pilih 12 bulan? Mengapa dia pilih 24 bulan? On what grounds? On what grounds they select like 12 months, 24 months, 18 months and so on? Katakanlah dia tengok okey ini indemnity period 20 bulan, alright. So kalau 20 bulan you recommend mana satu? How many months would you recommend? Let's say 20 months. But first thing first, apa itu indemnity period? Ini tak sama dengan period insurance. Ini hanya berkaitan dengan indemnity period. So what is your understanding about this IP? Okay, period to bring back the business to normalcy lah. Yeah. Okay, Susan, you're right. So indemnity period means from the date of the loss until the day they fully recover and back to business. Okay, so whether they choose 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, you have to discuss with the client on the various areas that may cause interruption, further interruption to their business. That one I don't think I need to repeat further. So I'm sure that the previous sessions, they have already shared with you what are those criteria that you need to discuss with your client to be able to determine the maximum indemnity period lah. So kalau dia katakan 20 bulan, you nak recommend mana satu? You nak recommend 18 atau you nak recommend 24? Which one is your recommendation? If let's say you work out everything, the client say, okay, it will take roughly about 20 months. Okay, then you go for, okay, betul lah. So Liu and Baharum, okay, betul lah, Cheng, correct. You go for the next one, 24. Sebab kemungkinan ada delay lah, ya. So you see, sometimes because of example certain situation, walaupun 20 bulan, nanti ada delay sini, delay sana dan sebagainya. Ada banyak government office tak kerja, nak dapat approval pun susah juga, you know. So we do allow for some all those delay factors. So you go for 24 months. Okay, so betul lah. Right, so now I just want to show you that itu answer, jawapan yang betul. Okay, daripada 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I pilih 2 yang salah. Ya. Alright, so for this one, remember, this gross profit is more for those like retail, wholesale, manufacturing, where it involves a fair bit of those variable and fixed expenses lah. Okay, so the variable and fixed, I don't think I need to go further. I hope that you already faham apa itu fixed and apa itu variable lah. So example for manufacturing, retail, like I say, dia ada banyak itu expenses yang ada kena bayar walaupun business dah tergendala atau terhenti. Ada expenses bila production tadi dia tak perlu bayar lagi. Okay, so that's what they mean for this gross profit. Alright. Okay, another one here I mentioned so this one is still the annual of 5 million. Okay, so I hope you are clear this one. All right, let's go to the next one here. Okay, sum insured on this gross profit can be either addition or different basis. So just to bring you back to this addition and basis sebab bila you nak bincang dengan customers, right? Okay, who will be the right person to speak to if you're going to propose a con loss? Siapa yang you nak bincang pasal ni con loss? Who do you want to speak to? Accountant, yeah? Okay, I mean any of the accounts person. Accountant will be the right person. Now, do you really need to be an accountant to sell con loss? Okay, account manager, definitely. Anyone involved in the accounts, yeah? You don't have to be an accountant right, to be able to sell the con loss lah. Tapi if you are accountant by profession, itu lagi bagus lah, lagi canggih at least you can speak on the same wavelength, ya. Tapi kalau you bukan accountant, tapi you ada sedikit lah ini macam accounting knowledge pun okay lah. Tapi kalau you tak banyak accounting knowledge pun tak apa, sebab kita punya con loss accounting dengan dia punya business accounting tak sama punya. Alright, so bila you bincang sama dia, insurance punya gross profit lain. So you know your job better than them, honestly speaking. So you hanya tanya itu accountant, okay, kalau berlaku apa-apa kebakaran, you punya business tergendala atau terhenti lah. So you hanya tanya dia 2 soalan saja. Mana satu itu expenses yang you mesti terus bayar walaupun business dah terhenti, dan lagi satu apa lagi itu expenses yang you tak perlu bayar bila berlaku itu macam itu interruption. Okay, so now here I have 2 addition and different basis. So now I mentioned here addition, you need to specify the variable. Okay, different basis, you need to specify the fix. So variable means yang turun naik, yang itu fix itu yang mesti bayar. Okay, walaupun bisnes ada tak ada pun mesti bayar. So is this correct or not, this definition? Betul atau salah? Addition or different basis. So I'm sure the previous session, they would have told you about the advantage of the addition and the difference. So I just want to just share with you a bit again. So betul atau salah? Okay, come, let's see. Type saja. Salam tak apa. Okay, Susan, you're very positive, Susan. Everything betul lah. Okay. Dean also betul. Okay.
Wrong.
Salah. Okay, sorry, Mr.
Tan.
Mr. Tan, hi, Mr. Tan, good morning. Now I hear someone speaking now. Okay, Mr. Tan. Okay, Mr. Tan. Okay, Susan and of course like Miss Go and so on. You put there yes. Tapi itu jawapannya. Okay, actually tak betul ya. Okay, Mr. Tan, since you say wrong, why you say is wrong? What is right?
The different basis is about turnover minus what's this
you got a formula.
Yeah, I forgot already. Some things
okay.
like that.
You got a formula already, Okay, good. So that was what you learned, Okay.
Yes.
Basically, in simple terms, I mean in layman terms, now addition is what you want to insure, you tell me. Okay. The different basis is what you do not want to insure, you tell me. Which one is easier? Tell me what you want to insure or tell me what you don't want to insure.
Different.
Okay.
The one.
You see, the different basis, you tell me what you don't want to insure. So it means the one that you don't want to insure are those variable one. Let's say for manufacturing, let's say if a fire happens, all their process, the production, everything stopped. Okay. Now they have bought all those raw materials. They ordered all the raw materials, right? So now the production is already halted. Do they still need to make purchases or not? The production, the machinery all gone already. Do they still need to buy raw material? No need already, right? Then you tell me lah, different basis purchases, tak nak lagi lah, itu tak perlu lah, itu freight tak nak lagi lah, you know, things like that. So that's the difference basis lah. So addition basis is what you want to insure, you tell me. So again, if you look at the difference and addition basis, the advantage and disadvantage, both got advantage and disadvantage, but I would say that the difference will have more advantage. Okay, so again, in short, addition, if you tell me let's say out of 10, you tell me only 5, maybe you overlook the other 5 items. Any claim happens, we will apply average. That means we will only use the 5 that you declare to us over the 10 which you're supposed to insure. Okay, so we apply average. But different basis, you just tell me 2 or 3, let's say you don't want to insure, the means the rest is covered. Okay, you got it? So that's example between the addition and the different basis. Yeah. Okay, are you clear? So if you're clear, let's move on to the next one. Okay, Mr. Tan, thanks. Mr. Tan, I think you more or less you have that formula. Sales plus closing stock minus that minus the what I call all those uninsured standing charges and opening stock. Okay, very long formula. Okay, good. Okay, next one. Period of this is period of insurance from 1st April to 31st March. The indemnity period is 9 months. Date of loss is 23rd August. Okay, business fully recovered on 31st December. Indemnity was ceased on 22nd May. 22nd May means it's exactly 9 months, no? Okay, so in this case, this case concern, when you think the indemnity stops? Is it 23rd August or is it 22nd? Is it on the end of 31st December? That means 1st January, or is it 22nd May? This one will be 1st January effectively. All right. Okay, come. Let me see. Jawapan YB yang belum respon, cuba respon. Ini IP. Okay, 22nd of May. Okay, 22nd of May, this is from Doreen. Okay, can I have another 1 or 2 more? Okay, 22nd May lagi. Okay, good. Jawapannya betul atau salah? Okay, kita tengoklah. Salah ya. Okay, I can choose the indemnity period of 9 months. Okay, so that means to say is we will assume the worst scenario from the date of loss, 9 months to fully recover. Like I mentioned earlier, if the insured has a con loss policy, all right, insurer will usually try to speed up the claims so that we can shorten the indemnity period. For insurer, the longer the indemnity period, the more the insurer got to pay. You see, every day delay is every day claim to the insurer. So insurer wants to make sure that they can minimize the claim. They will try to speed up the claim as fast as they can. So even though you assume it's 9 months, if the insurer, I told you already, we pay the upfront payment to you, you are able to generate some sales elsewhere and so on. So with that itself can help you to get your business back to normal. So that itself can shorten your period to maybe only 3 months. You see that? Instead of you projected 9 months delay, we managed to get your business up and moving up within 3 months or 4 months. Okay, so in this indemnity period, whichever comes first. So if your business are back to normal within 3 months, example, from 1st January, by 31st December, this insured already fully recovered. So we will take it from 1st January, everything is back to normal. Okay, so in this case, the indemnity period will end here. All right, but in case there's a further delay and the interruption period continue until 9 months later, so we will end at 9 months. Okay, now if they assume it's 9 months, but the delay until 18 months, then what happened? 18 months delay. They projected 9 months, all right, but somehow it delayed all the way 18 months later, then only the insured fully recovers. So that one, it will end where? Underinsured. This is not exactly underinsured. This is meaning like whichever comes first, meaning if they fully recover within the 3 months, then we will stop at 3 months. But if the delay up to 9 months maximum, we will pay up to 9 months. Okay. So if at all they exceeded the 9 months indemnity, we will still stop at 9 months. So the balance after the 9 months, we will not pay. So in this case, that means they have already miscalculated the indemnity period. Okay, right. So indemnity stop at 9 months. This 9 months is provided the delay, all right, the delay all the way up to 9 months. But if they have already fully recovered within 3 or 4 months, then we will stop there. Okay, got it? So whichever comes first, remember, if 3 months, we'll pay up to 3 months. If up to 9 months, we pay up to 9 months. Then if exceeded the 9 months, we will stop at 9 months. Okay? All right, next one, if MD cover multiple items at multiple, okay, average base rate, right? So this average base rate, I'm sure you know what is this average base rate. All right, let's hear from you. This is right or wrong? Average base rate, total gross premium over total sum insured times 100% of all the items location insured. Betul tak?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is the average base rate. Okay, you need to also understand why do we have this average base rate. Okay, let me just throw the question again to you. Let's say various items. Okay, let's say the building, the rate is 0.5 okay. Let's say the machinery is 0.585 okay. Let's say the stocks is 0.8 Which rate would you use to apply to your con loss? 0.5, 0.585 or 0.8? Okay, Mr. Tan, which rate will we use? 0.5, 0.58, 0.8?
Get the average. The total premium divided by the.
Okay, the total premium of these three, from these three, then you divide it by the sum insured. So that will give you the average base rate. Some, of course, okay, besides Mr. Tan, anyone else want to quote or not? Which rate would you use to apply for the con loss? Can I have at least one response so that I can address whether it's right or wrong? Anyone? Come on. Just one answer only. Whether it's 8, 5.85 or 0.5. Come on. I'm still waiting. Just type sajalah. Tak perlu risau salah atau betul. Type saja. Ada? Susan? Okay. Okay, Jasmine say 5.5, 5.85. Okay, kalau you gunakan ini 5.85, alright, Mr. Tan, if you use the average rate lah, it may come to 0. Let's say lah, just 0.65 lah, something like that lah, just roughly lah, right? So, kalau you gunakan ini rate, okay tak? You use the highest rate. Okay, you say total sum insured over the fire rate. It's actually the premium over the total sum insured lah. Ya. Okay, kalau you gunakan itu 0.8, you tak salah. Okay, itu betul sebab itu rate yang tinggi mah. Tapi kalau you gunakan 0.8 untuk itu quotation saya boleh guarantee you tak mungkin dapat itu business lah. Sebab you premium terlalu tinggi. Okay, kalau you gunakan ini 0.5, ini premium yang you charge mungkin tak cukup, terlalu rendah. Okay, so nanti you dah bagi quotation okay 0.5. So lepas kita issue itu policy nanti kita gunakan average rate kan 0.65 itu premium dah kurang, let's say lah dah kurang 3,000 lah example. Okay, premium dah kurang 3,000. Then after that, you go and tell your customer, Mr. Chia, sorry, Mr. Chia, earlier when the quotation, I quote at 0.5, so now they use the average, the premium is short by 3,000. You ingat customer happy tak? Puas hati tak? Agent, you yang cakap ini premium you quote ni premium sebab itu saya bagi itu business sekarang you cakap premium tak cukup 3,000 lagi bagi 3,000. Saya tak nak bayar, you see or not? So you're not wrong. If you're charging the highest rate, you're not wrong. But if you charge a lower rate, you may get a business, but you may have problem trying to convince the client that you have rated wrongly, and then you want to charge them for the difference. It's not very professional. Yeah. So what we do is we use the average base rate to apply to the loss. Okay, right, Mr. Tan, you're correct, Okay, next one. Con loss is subject to 3 tiers rating. So we have fire rate, we have that we have the self rating, we also have special rating. Okay, so this one depending on the combined sum insured, betul tak? So just remember I told you, itu fire, building dengan con loss sama AXA, itu machinery, stock dengan itu policy yang lain, semua campur semua sekali 60 juta straight away special rating, ya? Betul? Tembak betul tak? Baik, tembak. Okay lah, betul lah. Right. Yes. So this is correct. So we can combine all into the combined sum insured. As long as they are considered as one risk, you are fine. Okay. Right. So that's betul lah. Alright. So itu jawapan yang salah tadi So answer is the opposite just now. The difference, you tell me what you don't need to insure. The addition is you tell me what you want to insure. Alright. So for this pure indemnity here, the pure indemnity. So this one, whichever comes first lah. Yeah. Alright, so far so good. Okay, I tell you what, I need to speed up a bit. Okay, this specified and supply customer entitled to the location within the territorial limit of Malaysia, Singapore, and Brunei. Okay, anyway, this one I just need to speed up a bit because let's go to the topic. This is just a refresher. All right, so here, specified supply and customers. I'm sure you also learn a fair bit about this supply customers extension. So normally for unspecified, we put a 10%. Okay, if it's a specified customer supplier, then it depends on the limit they require. All right, so this one is wrong. This is only meant for those unspecified suppliers. Okay, time access, you knew what is this time access. So for all these extension like customers extension, public utilities, we do have this 72 hours time access, which you already know what is time access. So if you want to bring down the time from 72 hours to 48 hours or 24 hours, yes, we can do that, provided they pay the premium. All right. Number 12 here is that we also charge additional premium for the other locations. That means your specified supplier and customers at other location, we will charge them a minimum rate for that. Okay. This is the answer. Okay, departmental store can be used. This one I will explain to you later. What is this departmental store? Okay, premium adjustment. All right, for con loss, do you normally encourage them to over-insure, or is it okay to over-insure or not? Okay, can I hear this? This is important. So I need you to give me your view, because con loss is something that we cannot actually determine at the time when they want to buy insurance, you know. All right, we usually look at their financial records, or their trading account, P&L account, manufacturing account. Then we will come up with roughly only, okay, the estimated gross profit. Okay, so would you encourage them to over-insure? Or any problem if they over-insure? Okay, here, okay, Liu said can over-insure but not too over. Okay, what do you mean by not too over? Yeah, you can over-insure but not too over lah. Yeah, okay, Mr. Liu, I know what you mean. Okay, for con loss, we look to the future or we look to the past. If you want to determine the sum insured, tengok yang belakang atau tengok depan. You look backwards or you look forward. If you want to arrive at the sum insured. Katakan kalau you tanya itu bisnes, right? Itu tahun depan bisnes macam mana? Itu saya mana tahu. Kalau tak ada itu COVID, bagus. Kalau ada COVID yang kedua, ketiga, saya pun tak pasti. You see, future we cannot estimate. But normally for con loss, we look to the past lah. Kita tengok apa yang dah lalu. So you tunjukkan saya 3 tahun punya accounts, right? The 3 years accounts. Kita tengoklah itu trading lah, manufacturing dan agak-agak lah, right? So lepas kita dah tengok itu 3 tahun punya financial statement, katakanlah itu sum insured 5 juta. Okay, like Mr. Liu say, yes, we can always over insure, but we do not grossly over insure. Alright, sebab ini con loss, kita ada itu premium adjustment clause. Alright, so okay, let's see, backward. Okay, kalau you yang jawab backward itu betul lah, ya. Forward, we won't know lah. Okay, forward, we just only agak-agak, but anything can happen. Yeah. So you see, before the COVID, every business, all project, wow, very good sales, things like that. But the minute something happened like that, all their business are interrupted. All right. But if you look back to the past, you can more or less see the trend. Yeah. Okay, so for the premium adjustment, my advice is that yes, you can over-insure, but do not grossly over-insure like what Liu says. Because if you over-insure by too much, the refund premium, we will still retain the minimum 50% of the provisional. So the insurer might be paying through their noses for nothing. I will show you the sample later on. All right? Okay, so that one's salah. Yeah. So next one is your number 15. So this is talking about the wages. So these wages are sometimes the insured, let's say because of interruption, they may want to retain or they may not want to retain their employees. Okay, example, itu skill dengan unskill. Kalau itu skill, mungkin saya nak simpan lah, alright. Tapi kalau itu unskill mungkin saya nak pecat dia. Okay, so yang pecat you kena bayar. Yang pecat itu macam variable. Tapi kalau you nak maintain yang itu skill worker, itu jadi fix. So they can insure the wages as a separate item. All right, so this one just to show you, Liu, just now you say do not grossly over-insure. Now, let's say here, 5 million, all right? So end of the day, after we do all the adjustment according to the latest financial statement, so at 3.5 million, so now the premium is 21,000. So this is just example, yeah? Okay, so we will refund you the 1,500. So this one, you insure at 5 million, but the actual gross profit for the year that we have adjusted is 3.5. So not too bad. At least here you're talking about 1.5 million difference. So it's not so bad. All right. So we refund the 1,500. Okay. The next example here, if they grossly over-insure 5 million, like you say if grossly too over-insured, what happened? When we do the adjustment, okay, the actual gross profit was only 1.5 million. So maybe because of the business during the MCO and so on, the business was affected very badly, right? So now you see that they have grossly over-insured. So if we take the premium, 22 minus this 9,000, the refund is 13,500. But don't forget, I already mentioned, we will still maintain 50% of the provisional premium. So like this example, we will only refund 11,250, which is 50% of the provisional premium instead of 13,500. So you see, they are just paying like example, like almost like 1,000 plus, just for nothing because it's over insured. All right. Okay, Liu, let's say since you mentioned this one, if the projected gross profit is under insured, is there any situation we can address or not? Any solution we can provide? Okay, kalau you katakan 5 juta, tapi bila claim berlaku, kita tengok dia punya account, wah 5.5 lah, okay. So this one is already under insured, right? So is there any solution here to address the under insurance or no? Ada tak? I'm sure you have heard about this one. Macam mana kita nak pastikan kalau betul-betul sum insured tak cukup, kita ada itu clause untuk pastikan yang kita boleh macam yang itu baki yang kita boleh macam we can cover the shortage lah. Mana satu? Apa clause yang kita panggil itu? Kalau premium terlalu tinggi, kalau itu sum insured terlalu tinggi, kita akan buat itu refund, kita gunakan itu premium adjustment clause. Tapi kalau itu sum insured tak cukup, macam mana? Escalation, okay, Doreen, is something like escalation, but escalation we use for properties. So for your con loss, we have this clause called that upward adjustment clause. Okay, it's called upward adjustment. Susan, E&O, no, it's not E&O. It's called an upward adjustment. So this upward adjustment, we can give up to 25% extra. Okay, so if there's any shortfall when claim happens, we have this cushion of 25% of the sum insured to make up for the shortfall. Okay, faham? Alright, so kalau semua faham, I tell you what, now it's 10:30. So should we take a short break before we go on to the next one?
Yeah, I was
Okay, so we take a short break. Then after that, we will go full force already. So more or less, I think I've given you a very good idea of what we have gone through earlier. Okay, so we will be back, 10 minutes then?
5 minutes.
5 minutes, Okay.
Okay. So we just have a short 5 minutes break.
Yeah, I mean,
after 1 hour. Every
Okay.
1 hour.
Okay, right. Review lah, apakah keburukannya kalau itu insured tak beli con-loss lah. Tadi kita pagi-pagi tadi kita katakan kalau dia beli con-loss, apakah kebaikannya? So kebaikannya maksudnya kalau berlaku kebakaran itu bisa semua terhenti sebab ada con-loss, kita boleh bayar macam itu upfront payment supaya dia boleh terus atau sambungkan dia punya bisnes untuk sementara waktu. Yang penting itu bisnes lagi boleh disambungkan. Alright. Now, kita tengok itu keburukannya. Kalau dia tak beli, apa yang mungkin terjadi. Alright. So, next one. Okay, so let's look at the companies now. For con-loss, apa yang kita selalu katakan ini con-loss berkaitan dengan itu, kewangan. It's more to the financial health of the company. So, physically, if the building is already destroyed or the production halted because of the fire, but on the other hand, the insured, kalau dia tak ada con-loss, dia sendiri kena gunakan dia punya wang daripada dia punya syarikat untuk pastikan yang dia boleh macam bayar itu expenses yang perlu dibayarkan dan sebagainya. Alright, so let's see what happens here. Okay, kalau ada con-loss itu baiklah. Kalau tak ada, okay. Kalau tak ada, itu shareholders mungkin dipaksa untuk masukkan lagi okay, itu wang ke dalam syarikat untuk pastikan dia ada wang untuk at least untuk pastikan yang itu syarikat boleh disambungkan. Alright, at least the business can still be moving. So if you ask the shareholders to pump in the money, okay, to help them to at least to pay for all these expenses, itu shareholders will not be happy. Correct not? Now, kalau itu shareholder nak ambil tindakan undang-undang terhadap itu director, boleh tak? The one who manage the companies, why you never buy a con-loss policy? Can they sue the director or the officer involved in this case? Boleh tak? Shareholders, I just throw you the question. Boleh atau tak boleh? Mengapa you tak beli con-loss? Okay, so okay, Susan. If let's say if the management the one who is been assigned or the one who has been appointed to manage the company now managing the company is one thing, they also got to make sure that they have to take all necessary measures to make sure that the assets of the company or even the finance of the companies are fully protected against any unforeseen circumstances, example like fire and so on. So kalau itu management yang gagal buat kemudian okay, itu syarikat tak beli itu konlor, sekarang tu director mesti pump in banyak itu modal ke dalam tu syarikat untuk pastikan yang dia ada wang untuk bayar itu cost itu shareholder mungkin ambil tindakan terhadap itu director. Okey, kalau itu director yang didapati coy atau lalai apa insurans yang mungkin bayar, insurans yang dia mungkin beli cross selling.
Director and officers liability insurance.
Correct.
DNO.
You have the DNO, director and officer liability. You see now because of the failure to arrange this insurance to protect the interest of the company. Okay. Now, shareholder pump in. Okay, how much you want to pump in? Oh, we need you to pump in at least 30 million. Wow, shareholder will be jumping already, right? Here got no profit. Someone going to pump in 30 million. You see that or not? Shareholders will not be happy. All right, so that's one. Okay, after they pump in the 20 million, now all the building, machinery, everything destroyed. Okay, while you wait for the insurer to pay the claim, I told you already, insurance won't pay the claim yet until the building and the machinery or the stock are fully reinstated or fully repaired. How much is the cost? Then only we pay. So if you take 1 year for the full reinstatement, the 1 year, now the 1 year says, okay, during this period, you need to pay upfront, you need to pay yourself first. You sendiri mesti tanggung apa yang itu wang yang perlu digunakan untuk membina itu bangunan semua itu machinery semula. Then you take out the money again from your cash cow to pay for the restoration. And then your con loss, don't forget con loss ada satu exclusion. They put that exclusion if they don't have the sufficient capital for the restoration, kita tak bayar tau. You see that or not? So no choice, they got to pump in the money to reinstate the building, okay, to back to original. So meantime, con loss tak bayar lah. Okay. Now the third thing is that they may still need to pay for all the fixed expenses. While restoration of the building is one thing, but what about all the daily expenses? Example macam salary itu let's say director punya salary director fees must pay or not? Itu kilang ada atau tak ada, itu director fees mesti bayar tak? Bulan-bulan mesti bayar tak? Right? Must pay or not? Must pay. Correct or not? Then what about the car maintenance? Director yang gunakan itu kereta syarikat mesti bayar maintenance tak? Mesti bayar. They still need to pay for a lot of other what they call these fixed expenses, all from the capital which the shareholder has pumped in. Okay, and not only that, in order to speed up the whole process, they may even need to spend more. Okay, to bring in all the equipment and so that they can be back to normal faster than sooner than later. You see that? So that's example number 4. Then number 5, example funds after they have used for this restoration work, they use for to pay for all these other expenses. Eventually, all the savings becomes very depleted. Okay, itu wang yang ada shareholder yang pump itu capital mungkin dah lama gunakan bayar itu wang pun dah tipis. Okay, so after a while habis lah, tak ada income sebab bisnes dah terhenti. Okay, so and the worst thing to happen to any organisation kalau dia tak sanggup lagi nak bayar itu cost maksudnya itu kewangan sudah kering habislah, tutup kedai, gulung tikar lah. Right? So bila tutup kedai, kalau ini bisnes dah macam banyak generasi lah, okay? The business was set up by the great-grandfather, passed down to the grandfather, passed down to the father, passed down to the son. 4 generation of business are just gone like that, You see that? And itu bisnes kalau itu gulung tikar itu tak apa, tapi itu market share habis, okay? You lost your customers to your competitor. Your customers will not wait for you to come back, Kalau you cakap, saya mesti ambil satu tahun untuk business back to normal customer kata, saya tak boleh tunggu you saya proses pun mesti sambungkan. So if you cannot supply whatever to me, I'm going to stop ordering for you. You see not? The loss of market share, the loss of viewer. This is money cannot buy one, Understand? Loss of business, loss of customers, loss of market share, loss of goodwill. Nah, ini wang tak boleh beli, tak boleh beli benda tau. Right? And of course, kalau the worst scenario, apa terjadi? Mungkin possible legal action. Mungkin you punya competitor lah, you punya shareholders lah, even itu mungkin itu employees also may even want to take further action against the management. So like Mr. Tan said just now, all these we may also have the D&O to come in as well. Okay, so this is just example. If you talk to your customer on the positive side lah, apakah kebaikan kalau you beli itu con loss? Itu insurer akan cuba selesaikan itu claim dengan secepat mungkin. Sementara menunggu bangunan dibina semula, kita akan tolong akan bayar itu kos yang sebenarnya lah, ya. Itu daripada segi kebaikan. Tapi kalau you nak dia takut-takut sikit, you gunakan yang inilah. Kalau you tak beli, sometimes you must put a little bit of fear in them. You thought everything good, they don't see the needs to buy. Okay, so got it? Alright, so that's example the consequences. Alright, so FCR seeks to protect the business against all these things. Alright, so we have this gross profit which already talk about. Then the gross revenue dengan itu gross rental lah. So kalau dia tak ada profit langsung, hanya nak insure itu standing charges saja pun boleh. Alright. Kalau dia nak insure itu wages, itu gaji-gaji berlainan pun boleh. Alright, so kalau dia nak insure itu others lah, they call this other increased cost of working also can. Alright, let's talk about this loss of gross profit. Alright, I won't dwell too much into that. I believe during your earlier sessions, I'm sure the other trainer may have already explained to you what's the difference between the gross profit, gross revenue, and also the gross rental. So very quickly, just a summary. Normally for gross profit, these are more related to businesses, like example, retail, manufacturers and so on, where they have a very high volume of expenses, meaning all those fixed as well as the variable. So when I say fixed and variable, I hope you already understand what's the meaning of these two. Okay, so these are just example. Okay, so when we talk about this loss revenue, these are meant for those businesses. We are talking about a company that provided services, right? Where they do not have much of these variable expenses. Right, just then we use gross revenue. So earlier I explained to you already, macam you punya agency, the difference between the premium that you generated and the volume of policies that you sell. So we are not looking at the number of policies, we are looking at the premium you generate. So likewise for gross profit and also for the revenue, the same thing. When you talk about gross profit, certain companies, they may use their profit arising from per item, per square feet, per meter length, per piece, that kind of things, to work out their profit. Because manufacturing, they have different profit ratio, you see. Raw material, work in progress, finished product, okay? They may have different gross profit ratio. Okay, so if you're talking about from the premium that you generated, is something just like a revenue. I hope you understand that. Okay, for those like loss of gross rental, I already explained as well. These are for companies where they actually receive their income from the rent they receive. Then we go for gross rental. All right, so let's look at okay, this is the gross revenue, which I already explained just now. Okay, gross rental. Okay, this one is your wages. All right, let me just emphasize a bit on wages. Okay, itu gross profit, gross revenue, okay ya. Saya tap saja cepat sangat. Itu cepat sangat. Okay, any question on that? Gross profit, gross revenue? Tak ada lah. I suppose you're very clear on that. Okay, boleh bagi pesanan sikit-sikit boleh tak? Okay tak? Gross profit, gross revenue, clear? Gross rental? All right, so just a quick one on this wages. All right, so this wages ini macam gaji-gaji. Okay, itu salary dengan ini wages sama tak sama? Salary dengan wages sama tak? Salary tak sama. Okay, Susan tak sama. So let's say example for people like Fatah like that lah ya. Fatah ya. So you are salaried earner, right? You are salaried. So you are annually ada kerja pun ada wang, tak ada kerja pun ada wang kan? Because you are salaried. That's why all the salary workers we put as fixed lah. Okay. Tapi kalau ini wages, kita tengoklah ini ya, dia punya pendapatan berdasarkan kepada kerjanya. So kalau dia ada kerja, dia dapat itu pendapatan. Kalau tak ada kerja, tak ada wang. Macam itu. So example people let's say in the factory some of them may be like hourly paid. Kalau dia dibayar secara per jam. Okay, kalau 1 jam RM20, dia dapat itu RM20 lah. So kalau hari kemudian dia tak kerja, dia tak ada pendapatan. So we have this one called wages, which can be either two ways. Either it can be also considered as a fixed or it can be a variable. Depends on how the client want to insure lah. So kalau macam itu skill worker, dia nak simpan itu semua skill worker, dia nak bayar dia punya wages sementara menunggu itu kilang dibina semula pun boleh. Kalau itu unskill dia nak pecat semua, tak nak itu unskill worker, dia pun boleh pecat. So itu dah jadi variable expense. Faham? So there's an example like wages. Now, sometimes you tell me, sometimes why the manufacturers still want to maintain their skilled workers even though their production is already halted. Mengapa? Okay, Cheng say contract based. Yeah, it can be contract based, hourly paid, okay, daily paid, that kind of thing. So, mengapa itu ada kilang-kilang walaupun dia punya kilang dah terbakar, menunggu itu kilang dibina semula, let's say lah katakan 8 bulan 9 bulan untuk bina semula itu bangunan, tapi dia punya skill worker dia lagi nak simpan dulu tau. Tak apa, saya bayar saja dia punya gaji. Mengapa? If the client asks you this question, why should I you tell the client you should continue to maintain this wage earner. If the client asks you why must maintain this wage earner? Anyone? Why should I retain the skilled workers? I can always pecat, That means kilang sudah bakar buat apa, saya nak simpan you, saya kena bayar you punya gaji lagi tahu. Tak naklah semua pecat pun boleh. So if I want to take all the wage out as an uninsured or rather as an what I call this a specified, I can also, but I may want to retain half like that, half lah. So example, I may want to retain half of them and then the other half I maintain for a period of time. Then lepas itu semua pecat sekali pun boleh. Okay, let's see asset of the company or employees are the asset of the company. Okay, ini EHL Alright, the reason why some manufacturers they still want to maintain their skilled employees. Kalau dia tanya you punya opinion Okay, agent atau YB, you bagi saya tahulah mengapa saya mesti simpan ini skill workers. Alright, so you tell them Mr. Chia is like that. Itu skill worker, ini orang yang berpengalaman atau ada itu pengetahuan untuk menggunakan itu machinery dan sebagainya So kalau you pecat semua sekali lah, right? Nanti you punya kilang semua dah berfungsi balik semula. You nak itu kerja balik itu machinery So kalau you dapatkan itu pekerja yang baru, dia pun tak pasti macam mana saya nak operate itu machinery. You see that or not? So if you get a new one, you need to retrain. And the worst thing, not only retrain, you need to recruit. So if you want to recruit, you want to retrain them in using the machinery, is going to be very time consuming. You see that? So I rather maintain all my skill. Nanti itu factory dah okay, terus kerja saja. You see, I no need to recruit, I no need to retrain. That's the difference. Right? Macam unskilled worker, itu sapu lantai punya, cuci tandas, itu you boleh pecat. Itu siapa pun boleh cuci. Faham tak? Okay, tak payah train orang baru, betul. The retraining itself, okay, is another problem. And then the worst of course is the recruitment. Not easy to recruit the skilled workers, you see that? So even if you recruit, majority will be the semi-skilled, you see that? So that itself may even delay the whole operation because of the retraining, the recruitment. Kadang kilang sudah siap sedia, tapi itu orang, itu pekerja tak ada. Tak dapat pekerja, you see that? So I rather maintain them and make sure that when the business is ready, they can proceed with the work. So that's an example on the draw wages. Okay, so this draw wages just to show you, we also have a different multiplier for draw wages. So this is part of your tariff. Mungkin terlalu kecil lah. But anyway, this is example of the premium we charge for your wages. Okay, this is another very important one. I'm sure during your earlier sessions, I'm sure the trainer must have already informed you what is this suppliers, unspecified supply, and so on. So I'm going to address accordingly. All right, earlier we mentioned for the insured location, ini insured punya location, okay? Dia punya own location. What is the rate we charge for their own location? Kalau kita charge the con loss, we charge the minimum fire plus the perils. Faham tak? Insure own location, kalau dia beli con loss policy, kita akan ikut saja itu rate yang kita charge bagi fire dan perils lah. So let's say the fire and peril is 0.8, okay? So ini 0.8 kita akan gunakan ini rate untuk itu con loss. Itu hanya berkaitan dengan itu lokasi sendiri saja. Understand? We charge you the fire and perils rate based on the insured's own location only. Kalau dia nak masukkan itu lokasi di mana-mana dekat Malaysia, itu dikira premis yang lain. Alright, so kalau dia nak masukkan macam specified supplier dekat sini, we will charge them extra 10 cent for the fire and lightning and the peril of 0.05. This is because of the extra location. Faham? Insurance location ini no problem lah. But now we are talking about some other people premises, we will charge you extra rate here. Sebab ini supplier, specified supplier, kita pun tak tahu dia punya construction, and that kind of thing. So we just charge you an additional rate. Alright? Okay, let's look at this supply extension. Alright, so this one specified. Okay, specified supplier maksudnya kita mesti namakan. So if you are going to give this extension, you need to mention the name of the supplier and so on. Okay, and this one, the time access we already mentioned. Alright, so this is the additional rate for the additional location. Alright, this one 50%, 30%, 20%. Macam mana kita dapatkan ni percentage? How do we get a percentage? 50, 30, 20, and 10? Anyone? Okay, I tell you what, let's move on to this. Alright, now I want to share with you, ini specified supplier premises. Ini clause apa yang berkaitan dengan ini extension, right? Okay, we use Proton, itu Proton just as an example. Right, you tell me for Proton, can you name me among the suppliers, right? Can you name me the components of a car? Itu Proton, okay? Bila dia assemble itu Proton daripada itu banyak-banyak itu komponen kan? So can you name me what makes the Proton? Anyone? Sorry.
The lamp?
The
Lamp.
the headlamp, is it?
Yes.
Okay lah, the headlamp is considered sub-substrate one. Major one. Bumper also considered as accessory only lah. Yeah.
You're talking
The major
about
one.
engine or transmission?
Example engine, right? So Proton engine supplied by whom? Engine supplied by whom? From where? From China.
Used to be Mitsubishi lah, not sure already.
It can be Mitsubishi, it can be last time Daihatsu, things like that, right? So maybe now it's from Geely or from China, yeah. All right, so that's example just only on the engine, right? Okay. Other than engine, the major one,
The transmission?
Transmission, all the transmission gear and so on, yeah. That's all part of it, part of the whole process, engine, transmission gear, that kind of thing. Okay. Other than the engine and the transmission. So many Proton mix or so many parts. We talk about the major one first lah. Yeah.
The drive shaft?
Drive shaft, okay. These are also all part of the engine. Okay, very good, Mr. Tan, right? Okay, anyway. Okay lah, the car itself. So many, right? So example we have, okay, aircon. Aircon also is just only part of the accessory lah. Okay, let's look at the major one. Example you know what is Coro? Coro means it's the chassis lah. So this Coro is actually a metal sheet, it's a metal sheet which they import either from maybe from China or maybe locally. They bring in what they call Coro, like a metal sheet. Then after that they do the stamping. After they do the stamping already, then they assemble. This is the frame. So this is the chassis. Okay. Now, this cold roll can come from one of the supplier. Without these chassis, without this cold roll, they cannot even start production. Correct or not? Let's say this cold roll, let's talk about Proton. Let's say this cold roll is supposed to come from one of the supplier in Malaysia. Maybe come from the steel mill, right? So if something happened to the steel mill, they destroy or damaged by fire or flood and so on, they are not able to supply the what I call the metal roller, the cold roll to Proton. And Proton cannot do the assembling, they cannot do the stamping. What happens to Proton? Lost, right? They're supposed to sell 100,000 cars during that month, but because they do not have the cold roll to even start the production, that may affect their business, you see or not? So somehow some customers or even maybe the sales will seriously drop because they say that, oh, because you delay in the production of your vehicle, we don't want to buy Proton. You see or not? Things like that can happen because of the failure of the supplier to supply the cold roll to Proton. All right. So other than the cold roll, then of course we have the paints, automatic paint. Your car all got colors, right? Then like time you say, just now all the engine transmission, like just now siapa lagi, okay, Susan, example, aircon, and then your upholstery, your other interior parts, the windscreen, your tires. Okay. Now, can you tell me example, tires, who among the suppliers that you think the Proton will get from? Who are the suppliers of these tires to Proton? So many, right? What tires? Can you name the tires? So many tires Anyone? Okay, okay lah. Continental, so many So Proton, they do get a lot of these supply from all the tire suppliers, right? People example Continental, Goodyear, all right. What else? Maybe Michelin and that kind of thing. So different tires. You see that? Now Proton themselves, they don't manufacture all these parts. Proton only do assembling. Understand? Proton is only an assembling plant. So they get all the various components, then they do all the assembling. So all these components come from the suppliers. So this supply extension means if any one of the supplier of all these components, something happens to their production plant, everything is halted, and then they are not able to supply all these parts, all these components to Proton, and Proton is not able to assemble the Proton cars, that may have an impact on their sales. Okay, that's why we call it a specified supplier. Means the major one, they must name that supplier. So if this cold roll, let's say, is from one of the mill, okay, let's say like ASN, then they must name ASN. If this paint comes from ICI, then they need to name the supplier ICI. If this engine comes from Daihatsu or Mitsubishi, then they need to mention Mitsubishi. All right. So if this audio all come from I don't know what brand you have here, right? And upholstery and all this. So if windscreen comes from the Malaysian sheet glass, then they must mention Malaysian sheet glass. If the tires come from Dunlop, Goodyear, and all the other manufacturers, then they must mention the name here. Okay. So normally for the specified suppliers, we are looking at the major ones. All right. Now you tell me among all these components, which one will have the major impact on the interruption? Let's say 9 out of 9, if the one don't come, it's going to affect them badly. Which one? Can you tell me which one? Let's say they have everything, the car, everything is all done except no tires. Any problem? One time the tires from let's say from Thailand, right? They are not able to supply the tire because Thailand at the time I think was flooded or because of earthquake or tsunami. They are not able to supply the tires, So as a result, Proton, all the cars are there. It's just that they cannot fix the tire because no tires. All right. So you think the tire manufacturer, they depend only on one supplier, or you think they depend on multiple suppliers? Right. YB, macam mana? Okay, cold roll engine, Susan. Okay, cold roll engine, All right, the cold roll, this one, if you ask me, how much Proton is depending on this cold roll, I tell you, it's close to 100%, Without this cold roll, I cannot do anything. Even I got the paint, I got the engine, I got everything in place, but if I cannot do the stamping of these chassis, I cannot even manufacture. You see that, So the dependency here, meaning This supplies extension means the proton is fully dependent on this cold roll. All right. So if anything happens to the cold roll manufacturers, it's going to affect their business badly. So under the con laws, even though the insured location is not affected by any fire at all, but the business interrupted because of the supplier premises, that is where this extension comes in. Okay, faham tak? Okay, if you look across the board here, tires, because they are depending on a lot of other suppliers, so they have no worries. So if you ask me, in terms of tires, dependency on this tire, how much Proton would have lost in case if they do not get the supply of tires, this one, I would say that it won't affect them much. So even if the car, let's say Proton supposed to come with a Dunlop tires example, right? So if they are not able to supply the Dunlop tire because of the manufacturer's problem over there, I can always fix in another tire. Maybe I can fix in maybe like Goodyear or some what tires, Goodyear Michelin Hankook. I also can, Bridgestone example, all right? So you ask me, in terms of the these supplies, how much is Proton depending on the tire supplies here? Maybe here I just put like maybe 10%. It won't seriously affect my production. You got it? So even if one of the tire factory, let's say Goodyear in Shalam burned down, no issue. I still can use other tire as replacement. Faham? Now, even if you talk about all this windscreen, right? This windscreen, normally they will source it from Malaysian sheet glass. All right. So if at all anything happens to Malaysian sheet glass, they are not able to supply the windscreen to Proton. So Proton cannot do anything about it, right? So that may have an impact on their profit as well. Okay, so this is again, how much does they depend on this MSG if anything happens here? So you ask me, windscreen, maybe the windscreen got two sources. One is locally from MSG, maybe another one from overseas. They may have the imported windscreen, you see or not? So if you ask me here, maybe I put that, okay, 30%. Okay, this 30%. Faham? So this, if you say like upholstery, upholstery, no problem. Even if anything happened to one of the upholstery supplier, say something happens at their premise, burned out, whatever, no issue. I can always get the upholstery from another supplier. All right. So you can see from here. Oh yeah. Okay, you can see from here, just to show you. So the first one, I put here supplier, okay, 50% dependency. So if anything happens to the supplier number one, example, just how we talk about windscreen and so on, 50% dependency. So if anything happens, we will then limit according to the percentage selected here. All right. So the second supplier dependency is 30%, 30 and then 15. Okay. So you need to specify the percentage. That is where we will charge you the premium accordingly. All right. Okay. Faham tak sini? Okay, are you clear? So this is talking about specified supplier. Now, itu supplier pun ada unspecified. So unspecified maksudnya apa itu supplier? Unspecified means those dan lain-lain punya lah. Maybe the supply varies very small kind of components lah. Okay, the unspecified one. Since we talk about specified, let me share with you the. Okay, I share with you this one first. So this one unspecified, you need not list down the names. Okay lah, macam ini semua boleh dikatakan sebagai unspecified lah, right? So unspecified macam itu emblem lah, itu logo lah, itu wiper lah, itu visor lah, itu lamination lah, itu engine oil lah, itu semua dikira macam consider as dan lain-lain lah. Alright, so even if let's say wiper, kalau ini wiper itu supplier tak boleh supply itu wiper sebab dia punya kilang sudah terbakar dan sebagainya, no problem. Proton can always get the wiper from somewhere else. Okay, so that is what we call unspecified suppliers. Ini rate lebih tinggi lah sebab okay, the rate is higher because it's unspecified. We don't know where they are from. Yeah, so this rate is much higher. We charge you like 0.75 dependency is 5%. Okay, so this one we charge you a 0.75 is higher rate because it's unspecified. Okay. Right. So YB, up to now, are you okay? Memory card okay tak? Can I see some okay? I'm getting worried whether okay with you people. All right. When we talk about unspecified, if anything happens to the supplier, okay, who is not specified in the con loss, macam mana nak claim? Faham tak? Kalau specify itu no problem lah. Kalau ada specify dekat itu specify extension, no problem. We will pay according to the percentage that you mentioned there lah. Alright. When I say percentage means the profit that you would have made if not because of that failure to supply the material to Proton lah. Alright, unspecified sebab kita tak namakan itu supplier. So kalau berlaku terhadap itu premise premise dia tak boleh macam dia tak boleh keluarkan itu emblem, right, the logo So how do we know whether this is one of them? Macam mana kita tahu yang ini supplier? Kita tak namakan dalam policy, so macam mana kita nak boleh pastikan yang ini pun dikira sebagai dia punya supplier? Because it's unspecified, huh? Okay, so normally invoices, okay, itu unspecified, we don't specify lah. So kalau ada apa-apa berlaku, of course dia mesti ada itu macam contractual agreement kan. You nak buat itu Proton punya logo dan sebagainya, you tak boleh buat ini logo hantar kepada Proton mah. There must be some form of contractual agreement. Definitely you have to have agreement. It's a matter of whether it's a big one or just a small one, right? So even if you just send a very simple like you say lah, upholstery lah, wiper lah, itu headlamp lah, the spare part and all these things, definitely there is some form of contractual agreement, right? So long as that unspecified supplier can show that he is one of that supplier to Proton's plant, then that's fine. Okay, so invoices, yeah, that's also one of them. Okay, so that's talking about suppliers. Okay, can you tell me now, who among is the Proton punya customer? Who are their customers? Anyone? Okay, namakan dia punya pelanggan. Proton jual kereta kepada siapa atau siapa yang beli kereta dari Proton? What about you and me?
Dealer. Franchise.
That one is under the edaran kan? You're right, edaran automobile nasional. Okay, they are the main one. Okay, good. So example edaran is one of them. Taxi, of course. Taxi you tengok ini semua secara khas dibuat untuk taxi kan? Red and white example, and then maybe like car rental companies, people like Axis rent a car and so on, and then you have the state government owned vehicle. Dulu government semua guna Proton perdana, tapi sekarang semua pakai apa kereta? Audi Proton tak nak lagi Okay, and then kita pun mungkin ada itu export, all those exporters, those importers from other country, macam UK dan negara-negara yang lain mungkin beli Proton daripada Malaysia and of course like companies car so let's say like example maybe like example ada company car kan, right? So of course the major one is which one? Major one, of course this one this is a major one. What about you and me? Are we considered as Proton customers? Direct customers? Kita pembeli. Kita bukan Proton punya pembeli direct. Kita pembeli daripada itu edaran. We bought from their dealers. Okay. So again same thing. Kalau you extend ini specified customers premises kita pun nak tahu kalau berlaku dekat ini edaran okay, yang jual itu kereta apakah itu kesudahannya, apakah keburukannya yang mungkin terjadi. How will it have an impact on Proton's punya profit? Any problem, edaran? Dealers? YB, what do you think? Any problem with the dealers? Actually ini Proton cars, bila dia keluar daripada kilang itu kereta semua basic saja tau. Dan you tengok itu sport rim itu alloy rim lah, itu skirting lah, itu spoiler lah, itu macam-macam itu bukan Proton yang buat punya tau. Proton hanya keluarkan ke kereta yang basic saja. Mungkin itu sport rim yang bukan sport. Itu rim yang you ada, yang dia pakai itu iron saja. Okay, bukan sport rim, dia ada itu cap saja, itu cover saja. So, bila kereta dah hantar ke itu edaran akan buat macam modification lah. So they beautify the car lah. So they put there they put the skirting lah, they put the spoiler lah, they put the visor lah, enhance lah, that kind of things so that they can sell, you see. So itulah edaran lah. So if let's say anything happens to edaran, okay, they are not able to take all this vehicle from Proton, then Proton is going to suffer quite a big loss in terms of profit. But edaran no issue lah. Edaran bukan hanya terletak dekat Selangor saja. Dia punya dealership mana-mana pun ada mah ya. Apa yang kita takut kalau ini edaran ada dia punya HQ dekat Shah Alam example. Ini HQ Shah Alam yang buat itu modification. Okay, all those as I say lah, all the visors, the skirting, that kind of things is the edaran that actually enhance that version. You see that? Then after that only they send to the dealers showroom then for sale. Itulah. Alright, so apa yang kita takut nanti ya kalau itu kilang yang buat itu semua modification dan sebagainya, itu yang terbakar, dia tak boleh buat apa-apa. You see that? So that may have an impact on their sales. Now, you tengok ini taksi ya. Ini taksi khas secara buat untuk ini taksi atau apa? Kalau you beli kereta, dia suruh you pilih itu color, you pilih ini color tak? Merah dengan putih, nak pilih tak? Ini kita tak pilih lah kan. So can you imagine if today the taxi companies ordered lah maybe 500 taxis lah. Okay, 500 taxi ada sudah buat pesanan kan. So Proton semua dah mungkin dah buat semua lah. Alright. Dan nanti itu taxi company sesuatu berlaku dekat sana. Oh sorry ya, kita punya office kilang semua dah hancur lah ya. Tak nak itu taxi lagi. Then what happen? So Proton is going to start with all these taxis, you know. Okay, so these are some examples of what they call the customers premise and so on. All right, so for this one, are you okay?
Okay.
Okay, right. Okay, so this is unspecified lah. Ini macam semua macam-macam punya lah, right? So these are all considered dan lain-lain. So like I said, these are all considered as unspecified lah. Yeah. Okay, another one, let's talk about this prevention of access. Okay, this prevention of access, again, talking about other people premises. This is in the vicinity of the insured premise. All right, I'm sure you know that like the recent flood that happens, right? So because of the flood, a lot of people are not able to access to the risk, okay, for any usual business law. So because of that, they can be affected by by this, what they call this prevention of access. All right, so same thing, we have this 72 hours. Right, and the limit here, of course, 10%. Okay, so this one, let me just share with you. Okay, example like this one. Let's say the insured factory is here lah. Okay, let's say this is the factory and this one. Okay, let's say their factory here and their fire policy, they bought fire including all the flood extension. No? So because of the flooding here, if any of the supplier, let's say if any of the customers are not able to access to their factory, okay, to collect the goods and so on, so that itself may have an impact on their sales, on their profit. Clear? Let's say if over that one day, they may have a lot of customers visiting them to purchase some material, things like that. But because of the flood, totally cut off, right? So here we say that there's a 72 hours time access. So if this flood happens here and nobody is able to access to the site for the next 72 hours, that one we don't pay. We will only pay after the 72 hours. Okay, so if this flood water continues to be there, exceeding the 72 hours, then only your condos will come in. Okay, so this example, what I call the prevention of access. So not only flood, it can also be due to, example, okay, flood is one of them. It can also be, example, landslide. Because of the landslide, they cut off that access to the insured premise. So because of that, they may have also lost in terms of business. And likewise, example like rioting, okay, and all this bushfire. So all these take note, they must have the extension in their policy. All right. So if their own policy, they do include flood. So any of the supplier, just now we talk about supplier premises, we will follow their main policy. Understand? So if let's say they didn't buy any flood extension and the supplier they flooded, sorry, the one it doesn't apply. Okay. So that's prevention of excess. Okay, let me show you. Okay, next one is your public utilities. All right, this public utility, we got three. Okay, can you name me the three utility? One is power, electricity. The other one is water. Another one is gas. Okay, can you tell me what business itself depend a lot on water? Other than the power, electricity definitely is a must, right? Gas, not necessary. Not every factory use gas, but there are certain factories where they depend a lot on water supply, public water supply. Without the public water supply, they cannot even start production. Okay, apa business yang menggunakan bank air? Okay lah, laundry, coffee shop, coffee shop buat kopi coffee shop okay lah, right? Laundry laundry, you need water, you need a lot of water for laundry. Okay, lagi? Ini kedai-kedai lah, macam kilang. Kalau
Paper.
kilang, paper, yes, paper mill,
Wafer.
paper mill. Yeah, paper mill definitely they need a lot of water. And then lagi?
Wafer.
Pfizer, all those mineral water supply and so, right? Yes, these are
Wafer.
Okay, these are the one that depends a lot of water supply. Okay, hotel pun sama juga. Okay, EHL hotel also same thing, right? Now, hotel, of course, other than power, they also depend a lot of water. Now, if you check into the hotel example, actually when you check in a hotel, what is the main thing you look for? Is it you prefer which one? With water or without water, or with power without water, or with water without power? Which one you prefer? Hotel. Okay, you since you mentioned hotel, you prefer, let's say you stay in a hotel, you prefer, let's say like anything happens, got water but no power, or got power, no water. Which one you prefer? Of course, you don't want to prefer both lah. You're paying for the accommodation. Of course, you want to make sure that you have power, you have water as well, right? But sometimes, too bad lah. Sometimes power failure and so on. Suddenly no power, or sometimes water suddenly cut off. Things like that. So which one you prefer? Yes. Okay, power and no water. Okay. Honestly, if you ask me, I rather prefer water than no power. If you say no power, never mind lah, just open the window, can sleep, correct? At least got some wind, but you got no water. Imagine if it's twin sharing, friend, twin sharing. One of your friend went into the toilet, after that do the business ready, try to flush over the cannot flush, right? And then what happened in the and then the next person want to go in, oh my God, correct. Actually, water is more important. If you ask me now, I would say water. But anyway, of course, we have the right to both. So anyway, what I'm saying here is that as far as this extension is concerned, we are talking about any failure of that supply, public supply, whether it's water, gas, or electricity, that may cause interruption to the business. And also take note, this failure of public supply is located outside. Remember, all these extensions, got to do with outside only. Understand? That's why this one I call it other people premises. If anything happen at your own, no problem. Your own already include whatever perils that you already covered. Okay, so this one example, public failure of public utilities. So let's see some examples here. Okay, I'm going to use example this tenaga, tenaga. All right, here, let's say the insured premise. So if so happen that the insured, their factory is located here, and they also include the failure of public utilities. So means to say they dependent a lot on the power supply. So example like Proton, Proton definitely need more power than anything else because all their machineries are robots, right? So they need a lot of this power supply to get the plant moving. Without the power supply, the whole robot shut down, they cannot even do any assembly. Right. So whether it's payable or not payable, we have to look at the situation. Remember, any public power failure supply must be the one that is directly linked to the insured factory. Okay, so let me show you this example here. So these are arrows. Okay, if the power generation plant here, okay, somewhere away, there's a power failure, causes causing the power failure. This one, sorry, we don't pay one. All right. And at the same time, next one. Okay, this transformer station. Let's say from the power supply, they may go through the transformer. So this transformer supplied directly to the insured premise. This one, yes. Okay, this one, yes. This one, no. And then if let's say the power supply all the way here, they also have the transmission lines, right? So if anything happens to the transmission lines here, suddenly there's the transmission line suddenly explode or suddenly collapse and so on, and causes power failure to the insured premise. This one again, sorry, we don't cover transmission lines here. Okay, then the next one here, substation. So if the insured is getting the power supply directly from their substation, and this substation is a public, not private. Sometimes certain factory, they have their own substation in their premise. All right, that is private. But we're talking about the public substation. So here that causes interruption, yes, this one becomes payable. So again, if the substation got all those cable or transmission lines that supply power here, anything happen to the transmission lines here, same thing, we don't pay. This is an example, the transmission line. You see, transmission line, suddenly the whole cable snap off and then cut off the power supply. So that one we don't pay. All right. So same thing, the 72 hours here means that if the power supply continues to be interrupted for the next 72 hours, the one we don't pay. It's only after the 72 hours, then only we will pay. All right. Now, 72 hours is like 3 days, Can we bring down to 2 days? Boleh tak? Can we bring down to 2 days? From 72 hours? Nak tunggu 3 hari tak mungkin tau. Biasanya kalau ini elektrik kalau elektrik biasanya mungkin 1 jam 2 jam kemudian dia mungkin tak sambung semula lah. Kalau nak tunggu sampai 72 jam itu tak mungkin lah, okay? Tak mungkin. Tapi mungkin ada mungkin boleh, tapi kalau tengok daripada apa yang berlaku sekarang tak mungkin 3 hari lah, right? So if we say if the power failure 24 hours, is it possible? The first 24 hours possible? Yes, if we say like between 24 hours is possible, okay? So kalau kita nak kurangkan boleh So meaning kalau kita nak kurangkan daripada 72 jam sampai 48 jam boleh lah. So this one we charge them like what you say here, Susan, we will charge you 50% loading here. If they want to bring down to 24 hours, yes, this one we charge them 100% loading. Okay, so that's a power supply lah, All right. Okay, so there's a failure of public utilities. Okay, faham? Macam itu kedai-kedai tadi just how you mentioned macam kedai-kedai, restaurant, all these things, do you think they need this extension? Atau tak perlu? Hotel mungkin hotel mungkin you perlukan itu air, tapi macam itu kedai, kopitiam lah, you say kopitiam? Tak perlulah, kalau kopitiam pun tak perlulah Kopitiam cuci pinggan saja kalau itu tak ada air pun dia tunggu sajalah mungkin jual makanan saja Anyway, restaurant not necessary, but you say like laundry, laundry yes possible. Okay, but if you ask me, I would say that the majority of this type of extension are more relevant to those manufacturing where they are depending a lot of power supply, depending on water and so on. Okay, if you are clear with that, let's move on to the next one, which is the infectious and contagious disease. All right, this one I'm sure you may have raised a lot of questions pertaining to this extension, right? Especially a lot of people asking about the COVID thing, Okay, so I'll just quote you example murder. We talk about murder first, This extension we cover murder, suicide, infectious, contagious, food poisoning, defective sanitary arrangement, and so on. Okay. Here, I just give you an example. Okay, liquor agent found it in KK hotel room. Now, if let's say this hotel room, they have a full booking during the peak season, right? And suddenly they found a dead body in the KK room, in the hotel room. Do you think that the guests will continue to stay And those who already make the booking, you think they'll continue to check in, or you think that they will cancel their booking? Atau yang check in semua nak check out? Okay, which one? Kalau itu Maya yang dijumpa dekat you punya bilik sebelah, okay, you nak terus duduk dalam itu hotel atau you nak check out? Okay guys, what say you? Okay, let's see. Hey, come on, share with me. Yang belum bersuara boleh bersuara. Okay, alright, Doreen definitely will cancel. Okay, so kalau itu customer mungkin dia book itu hotel nak duduk 3 malam, mungkin 4 hari 3 malam nanti sudah 1 malam itu Maya dijumpa dekat itu bilik di sebelahnya, takutlah. So lepas tu saya nak check out. Okay, yang itu mungkin yang book itu bilik semua daripada itu travel agency kan, travel agency dah book penuh kan, untuk 1 malam 2 malam. Okay, untuk masukkan 100 itu pelawat kan, dan nanti ni ini ada Maya dijumpa dekat hotel semua cancel order. So because of that, the hotel will also suffer quite a lot of loss in terms of their sales law. So when it affect the sales, means it will affect their gross profit. Okay, so ini macam murder lah, ya. Suicide pun sama lah. Kalau itu yang macam bunuh diri dalam itu bilik, example. So if anything happen, same thing lah. All the customer will check out and people will not even want to stay in the hotel. So ini kita tunggu pun sama 72 hours. After 72 hours, okay lah. Right? So that is murder. Now suicide macam bunuh diri pun sama juga. I pun tak faham lah mengapa sekarang ada banyak orang nak bunuh diri Dia check in hotel, lepas itu dia bunuh diri dalam itu hotel. Alright. So this example will have an impact on the sales lah, ya. Alright, what about YB yang ini wah, siapa cakap sini EHL change room Wallah, you change room honestly, you still want to change room or you want to check out? EH, if you ask me, definitely the hotel will need to check you out. Even you say change room, they won't change for you. They need to check you out because the police will come and they will come and cordon the whole area for investigation, you see. So kalau siapa yang duduk dekat hotel, itu authority akan suruh semua yang duduk itu guest yang duduk dekat hotel semua mesti check out. Because they need to cordon off the area, they need to do investigation, and then itu authority mungkin ini bangunan disitakan, okay, untuk 1 minggu untuk siasatan, things like that. So you got no choice they may need to check you out. Okay, next one, let's see, siapa sini cancel majority will cancel, yeah. Okay, this is a murder, suicide. Alright, so you tell me, talking about this contagious disease, I'm not sure during your first 2 sessions whether you did bring up this subject or not. If you did bring up, maybe you want to share with me. Anyone? Tan? Susan? Anyone want to bring up something here?
In the market, no one offer this contagious protection anymore.
Yeah. Talking about the COVID, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they specifically exclude the COVID.
Yeah.
Right. The normal one, we're talking about the human, more to the human, virus that spread through human. Right. So if anyone who check in the hotel already got some other kind of disease or even disease, right? So if you say, let's say like hand, foot and mouth disease, the HFM, right? The hand, foot and mouth disease, yes, the one is from human interaction, human viruses, that one is okay. So if anyone check in there and then after that the whole of the guests are infected with this disease, then the authorities say, okay, we need to cordon off your hotel, we need to do sanitizing. That one is okay lah. But if we're talking about this COVID, is air, is not human, it's not just human, it's to air related one. It can spread through the air, it can spread through the touch, things like that. That's why, because this is something new, so a lot of insurers just want to be very clear. Anything got to do with the COVID, for now they will not consider that as part of this extension. Okay, so maybe, I don't know, maybe later on, if this one becomes a pandemic already, maybe I don't know, maybe months later or maybe a year later, if becomes a pandemic, becomes normal already, so maybe insurer may have changed the step. Okay, so for now, most insurer will actually reject this first. Yeah. Okay, so thank you very much for your feedback. Okay, but now endemic phase, is it covered? Okay, Susan, I just mentioned last time because it was a pandemic, all right, the disease spread very, very fast. And now because of all the vaccination, everything is done. So now the government declared this as an endemic. Endemic means because it's like, endemic means it's like considered as normal already, right? But like I say, even though now the government declared as endemic, insurers are still cautious about this, because you never know, there could be another wave of COVID, you don't know, right? So we talk about earlier we talked about this COVID-19, then suddenly we talk about this Delta, somehow besides Delta, one more is one, Omicron, yeah, things like that, you see. So for now, insurers are still very cautious. So perhaps when the time is right, maybe the company may want to review it. Or Beta, you see, so many, Omicron, then we got Beta. Next day you got this. What else?
Delta, Omicron.
Then next day you need the one, what we call that? You know the transformer called what? Transformer got one thing called one. I forget the name. What is that?
Omegatron.
So many lah. You need the Optimus Prime. Okay. Optimus Prime. Okay, anyway, I hope Susan, I hope you got it. Okay, so many, you see, new vibrant now, some more what bar, what band, what 0.2, 1.2, so many lambda. So you see, now you can say it's endemic. You never know, it could be the next wave of similar kind of disease, All right, anyway, that's for this. Okay, so let's look quickly at some of these clauses. All right, as far as operative clause, so this one I will not dwell further into that. I'm sure you more or less already understand the operative clause. So basically what we are concerned about these con laws is like that. And we are talking about interruption or interference, okay, caused by the material damage to the policy. So in short means there must be a material damage to the property in order to trigger the con loss. That's why we have what they call this material damage proviso. All right. So if your fire policy covers only the basic fire and they never extend to include flood. So if a flood happens and causes interruption to the business, sorry, the one is not covered. Okay. So whatever is it, your fire must admit liability in order to trigger the con loss. All right. Okay, this call cover, I will not repeat this. So I just want to highlight to you what I mean by this material damage, which I already mentioned. Okay, earlier I mentioned your fire and your perils, this one. Charge in your fire policy, this one we will charge to your con loss. This is at your insured own location only. Okay, it's only related to their own location. So if any other perils happens at the other people premises, I already told you all the suppliers, customers, prevention of access, all those are considered as the outside premises. So that one, whatever happens, we still follow whatever we charge to your location here. So if your policy here will cover flood, then we cover you flood there. If your policy here got no flood and the flood happens to your supplier there, sorry, the supplier there, we won't pay. So unless they have their own policy, then you claim from their policy. Okay, if at all it does cause any loss of your business or whatever, you tell the client, you claim from the supplier. All right. So that's an example where we issue your con loss policy. We will mention the policy for this con loss. We will issue in conjunction with the material damage policy. So you see the word here, material damage policy. All right. So we mentioned the policy number there. Okay, so this is important, material damage proviso. So earlier I mentioned in order for the con loss to trigger, you need the fire policy to admit liability. That's why we have this what they call material damage proviso. Tapi kadang-kadang macam itu supplier extension, customer extension, kalau you ada beli banjir dekat you punya lokasi, supplier pun terkena banjir, ya itu mungkin akan menyebabkan itu bisnes tergendala atau terhenti kan. So dia tak boleh supply itu material kepada insured, itu memang terjejas bisnes. Tapi kalau kita tengok dia punya policy, fire ada, Itu con loss ada, itu peril lah, yes ada. Dia beli example lah, insured. They bought for the building, right? They bought for on the building, on the plant and machinery. They also bought the fire on the stock in trade, ya. Then sini dia ada cover flood extension. Faham tak? Okey, sekarang yang ini banjir berlaku bukan insured punya lokasi dekat sini. Sekarang ini banjir berlaku dekat itu supplier punya premises. Alright, so now if you look at it, the flood is an insured peril. Okay, flood dia memang ada beli, tapi dia punya barangan dekat sini tak terjejas, tak ada apa-apa kerosakan berlaku. The building, machinery and stock is still there. Nothing happened. There's no physical damage to the building at all, you see. So because of this specified supply extension here, okay, so we need to have what they call this waiver. Waiver. Waiver means kita akan waive ini lah. So that means your fire here do not have to admit liability because nothing happens there. I don't even need to register any claim under your fire. So there is no material damage in your policy, but you suffer some losses in your con loss. So we can take away what they call this waiver of material damage. All right. So let me show you some of the examples of this waiver. Okay, example of this waiver. Okay, here example specified supplier premises. Alright, so kalau apa-apa yang berlaku dekat itu supplier premises, kalau kerosakan sana dekat premis sana pun boleh dikira macam kerosakan berlaku di insured punya lokasi. Faham? Whatever damage happen at the supplier premises is deemed to be damage at the insured premises. Faham? Walaupun tak ada apa-apa kerosakan berlaku dekat insured punya premise, but the wording say that anything happens there, if it's insured, anything happens there is deemed to be damage to the insured property. Okay, so that's example lah, a waiver. Okay, another one, same thing, unspecified, also the same thing. Anything happens at the other locations here shall also deemed to be result from the insured property. You see? Shall be deemed to be a loss resulting from the damage used by the insured at their premise. Faham? So physically, no damage to their building. The fire will not register any claim at all. But because of the damage happened at the unspecified supplier, that one we will just constitute as though it's a damage to the insured premises. So we just use the waiver of material damage. Okay, same thing like this one. You can see all the word here. Shall deemed to be loss resulting from damage to the insured premises, even though it happens at the supplier premises. Sama lah, ini semua sama, you see. Resulting from damage property used by the insured at the premises. Walaupun bukan insured premises yang ada kerosakan, di tempat lain pun kita kira macam itu pasal itu punya fire itu kemalangan boleh dikira berlaku dekat insured punya premise. Okay, I hope you understand what I'm saying.
Stephen.
Yep.
How to determine the dependency and skills?
Dependency, you got to sit down and discuss with the client. Right, you got to discuss with them. Okay, I give you one very simple example. Mr. Tan, right?
Yep.
Okay, Mr. Tan, I give you a simple example using your own agency, right? Now, your commission, let's say your commission, I mean you don't have to tell me how much, your commission is depending on which class of insurance. Mainly depending on which class of insurance.
Fire.
Which one is, okay, fire, right? Now, if something happens to the fire portfolio, will it have a big impact on your commission?
Yes.
Yes, Lord. So how much you think of your commission? How much you think if, let's say, if you lose the fire portfolio, how much would you lose from there? Let's say your commission is, I don't know, let's say your commission 1 million, right? If you lose the fire portfolio, how much does it represent your commission?
Around 40%.
40 same thing, Mr. Tan. So when you discuss with your client, you just ask them the same question like that.
Okay.
See? So if, let's say, which is the class that you do less?
The class?
Which class of business you hardly do? Or maybe a bit only? Do you do a lot of marine?
Retail.
Okay, let's say you do a bit of marine. Okay, one day, let's say if you lose the marine portfolio, will that have a big impact on your commission?
No.
No IC also, right? No fee, right? The one no need to specify lah. The one because you are not so dependent on that, so the one no worries. Yeah. So the example lah, this is like what we talk about dependency lah.
Okay. Just
Right.
now I saw you write skills.
Skills.
In one of the slide, dependency and skill.
Oh no, I don't think it's skills. I put that dependency and the rates. I don't think it's skills. No skills one.
Oh, okay.
You're talking about which side is it? No, I don't think I write any skill. You mean the dependency, is it?
Yeah. Beside dependency, I got words skills.
I don't think it's skills. I don't think it's skills. Just let me check lah. Since you raised this up, you mean on the dependency, right? Let's see.
The earlier one.
Oh, scale, not skill.
Yeah.
Scale, not skill. The scale we charge 100% for the first, right? 50% for the second supplier, 25% for the third supplier, 10% for the fourth supplier, for the fourth customer. And then if they have 10 customers, then the balance will still charge them 10%. Okay, the subsequent, after the third one, the fourth one all the way, let's say you got 10 customers, then from the fourth onwards, we will only charge 10% only. Okay, got it? It's not scale, it's scale. It's a scale that we charge accordingly. So this percentage is fixed.
Oh, I see. It is fixed, huh?
It's fixed. The con loss, the rate is fixed for this customer as well as for supplier. Okay. It goes according to 100% for the first one, 50 for the second, and then third. So the first one usually is the highest percentage one. Okay. Like just now you say, if you lose your fire, 40%, right? So we put here 40%. Okay, so if your marine is 10%, if your marine is the least one, then let's say marine, your dependency on marine is 15, then we put 15% like that. Right, so this scale is a fixed one, is in the tariff. Okay, got it, All right, so you are very observant, Mr. Tan. Skill and scale, okay, that's good. Just now we were somewhere here already, So remember, all this is here. The insured premises may not be affected by any damage, but the policy will still need to trigger because of the peril they insured. Right? Okay, this is an example of the waiver of material. Right, so these are some of the excluded interruption laws. Okay, remember this one just now? I told you, if they do not buy any con loss, the consequence, apakah keburukannya kalau dia tak beli con loss? So kalau tak beli shareholder mesti masukkan modal untuk pastikan yang dia ada wang untuk bayar itu, untuk membina itu bangunan, beli machinery yang baru. So this one example, right? So if they don't have this sufficient capital, the con loss will say, sorry, since you're not able to rebuild everything, we may have to reject the risk based on this exclusion. Okay, all this I already, this one I don't think need to go through. Yeah.
How about if I don't want to insure the buildings with reinstatement clause, insured with market value in order to avoid the problems?
Normally for build, instead of reinstatement, you want to go for market value.
In order to avoid the problems.
No, normally we don't go for agreed value. Normally we don't go for market value one for building.
I know, but in order to avoid the problems caused, because if the instant value I bought.
Okay, so basically there is another option. There's another option. So normally you see the reinstatement, it depends on how long they will take to reinstate. So like example, if you say the building is going to take 2 years, right? Yeah. 2 years between now and 2 years later, how much is going to be increased? You don't know, Let's say now you ask a contractor, okay, saya nak bina ini bangunan semula harga sekarang lah. They tell you 1 million, right? Now 2 years later, you think it will be 1 million or you think it will be higher?
Higher.
Definitely higher, right? So it can be 2 million. We don't know. Okay, it can be 2 million. 2 years down, we don't know. It can be 2 million, right? So if you are going to wait until when it's fully reinstated, it's going to be 2 million, and that's going to take long time, right? So under this reinstatement, if we know that this reinstatement is going to take more than 12 months, normally we allow only for 12 months, all right? So if they're going to take more than 12 months, then we go on what they call the indemnity basis. Okay, we go on indemnity. So indemnity means, okay, after end of the 12 months, we take the next 12 months, how much will be the reconstruction cost? So we pay you accordingly to this one. Okay, so we can always revert to indemnity base. So we just pay you according to the figure based on the next 12 months. How much would that be? We pay you according to that. So let's say you assume the next 12 months is going to be 1.5 million, right? So we will base on the indemnity of 1.5.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so if at all the reinstatement goes beyond that 1 year, and then eventually the cost arise to 2 million, I mean, sorry lah, since we agree on 1.5, we just pay you 1.5.
Oh.
Okay, so that's an example on the indemnity base.
Okay.
Okay, understand? Right.
Thanks.
All right, so let's go to, okay, these are your additional perils endorsement. Okay, these are some of the extension. All right, I want to highlight to you that all the important clauses. Now, I'm sure during your sessions also, I'm sure the trainer have already more or less briefed you on some of the clauses, but I just want to expand a little bit more, okay, to show you some examples. Okay, these are all the clauses. You remember this morning I mentioned kalau dia ada beli con loss itu fire dah admit liability so itu con loss kita akan trigger, right? So apa yang kita buat ini clause ini payment on account, right? So kita akan buat itu bayaran yang dulu upfront payment. So let's say kita bayar let's say 20% of the upfront payment for the client to at least get the business moving. So mungkin walaupun kilang dia punya kilang dah macam dah terhenti, okay, dia boleh gunakan itu wang untuk sementara boleh operate dekat lokasi yang lain, dia boleh beli itu machinery yang baru dan sebagainya untuk pastikan yang dia punya business lagi boleh sambung semasa itu interruption period. Okay, so this is a very good clause here, payment on account. Now, all these clauses in your clause, these are usually given as an automatic one. Okay, ini semua tak ada premium. Itu premium yang kita charge hanya itu upward adjustment saja. Yang lain ini semua clause kita bagi free. So tadi yang saya dah explain inilah waiver of material damage. So I mentioned just now material damage maksudnya fire mesti admit liability. Then itu con loss akan trigger. Tapi kadang-kadang itu suasana yang mungkin berlaku walaupun itu fire, tak ada kebakaran berlaku dekat dia punya premise sebab itu peril ada insured, okay, di lokasi yang lain. So we will use this waiver lah. We will still pay the claim even though your fire do not have any damage sustained. Alright, so I will explain some of these important clauses here. Ini saja ada premium. So upward adjustment I already highlighted to you. Kalau itu sum insured tak cukup bila itu claim berlaku, kita akan gunakan itu upward adjustment. Okay, interdependency. So this one is open to this. Is only for those parent and subsidiary company lah. Okay, let's look at Sam Dabi lah. Okay, can you name me some of the those their subsidiary companies? Sam Dabi Berhad is their holding company lah, parent company. Can you name me some of their subsidiaries? Sam Dabi. Kalau you nak bincang sama itu customer, okay, ini interdependency clause you pun mesti gunakan macam example lah. So you tell them, okay, macam example Sam Dabi, Then you give them an idea. Oh yeah, this interdependency is something important, something they should know. Okay, so can you name me one example of this interdependency? Sorry, can you name me one of the subsidiary under Sam Dabi? Banyak lah Sam Dabi. Dia punya insurance apa nama? Dia punya insurance dia broker. Apa you panggil? Broker. Anyone? Okay, SJMC, Susan, SJMC, okay, good, SJMC. I think nowadays I don't think they call it SJMC anymore. Maybe they changed name already. Now I think they call it SDMC, Sam Dabi Medical Center. Okay, good. So SJMC example, right? Let's see. Okay, here we have example Sam Dabi property. So this property, they are what I call housing development. Okay, property development lah. So if you heard about all those like example macam USJ lah, okay, itu Putra Heights lah, panggil lah itu macam Bukit Raja lah. These are all part of the Sam Dabi development. They are properties developers, okay. And then kita pun ada itu Sam Dabi plantation. So they are also the exporters of this oil mill, palm oil and that kind of things, alright, plantation. Then dia pun ada itu Sam Industrial. Ini industrial, they are dealing with all the heavy equipments. Okay, all the mobile cranes, excavator, tractors, and so on. Then kita pun ada ini sign paint, ini cat, sign paint. Cat all the those days they call it pa paint, berger paints, kilang cat. Then ini lockton. Tahu ini lockton tak? Apa ini lockton? YB, apa ini lockton? Dia punya competitor lah. Ini dia punya insurance broking. Okay, dia insurance, dia broking arm. Ya. Semua dia punya company under Sam Dhabi Group, all the insurance is arranged through their broker, their own broker. Okay, itu panggil lockton lah. Then kita pun ada Sam Medical Center, Sam Dhabi Medical Center. What Susan mentioned here. Tak pernah dengar itu SGMC atau Sam Dhabi Medical Center. Dia dah tukar nama lah, itu SGMC ya. Okay, then we have this Syme Healthcare. Sorry, apa ni tak nampak ni, kecil sangat lah. Sorry, let's see apa ni Syme Motor. Syme Motor, so Syme Motor they are the assembler of all those other vehicles macam Hyundai lah. They import itu Mini Cooper lah, okay, and so Syme Motor. And then they have this one is Syme Engineering. Okay, they're involving in the offshore construction, and this one is Syme Logistic. Okay, now kalau you tengok ini when I call it interdependency now again their profit can also be dependent on either one of them, internally. Okay, internally Now let me ask you, if you look at Syme Lockton, this one the Syme broker. How heavily are they dependent on the group here? Let's say if Sam Dhabi Berhad were to pull out from Lockton, how much you think will have an impact on this Lockton itself? How much you think business comes from their in-house or the broker? Any idea? Banyak tahu? Dia punya Sam Dhabi Group, I would say at least 70 to 80%. Let's say 80%, okay? 80% of the premium that comes from Syme broker here, itu Syme Lockton, 80% are all from their in-house account. Maybe 20% is from the market. This is the market business, okay? This is their in-house. So can you imagine if one day, let's say something really happens, the whole of this group, okay, pull out from the Syme Lockton, 80% here, okay, it's going to affect Lockton badly, okay, 80%. So we have this clause called interdependency. So if anything happens to any of these subsidiary companies, causes a big loss in terms of the premium generated here. So when I say loss in terms of business generated means in terms of their sales, so in terms of the sales means it means also their profit margin. All right. So we will base the claims on the percentage that how much is actually affected by this. You understand? Okay, so it's example on Lockton. Okay, another example. How much does Syme property here, the development, how much are they depending on this Syme plantation? If Syme plantation don't sell their land to Syme Dhabi property, they cannot build houses. Because a lot of the Syme properties, their houses are built on all the plantation land, which the plantation sold to the Syme property internally. From one subsidiary, they sold to another subsidiary. You see that? So Syme Dhabi, Syme property is also very heavily dependent on the plantation. Okay. Now again, this plantation here, how much does this plantation depending on the Syme equipment here? So if they want to clear the land, they want to do harvesting and that kind of things, they need a lot of these heavy equipments, So as far as the Syme industry here, it means the heavy equipments, their business also can be heavily dependent on their plantation group, can also be dependent on their property group. You see that? So again, if you talk about paint, the paint manufacturing, how much is these subsidiaries here depending on the paint? So again, the house itself here, property may also depend on the paint, all right? The Syme Motors also can depend on the paint. You see that? So that's another example. Then other than that, you look at it like all this Sun Engineering, Logistic, and so on. Yeah. Now, Sun Motors, you think all the Sun W group here, all their company vehicles, you think they bought it directly from their group or you think they bought it from outside? What car they use? Company's car. YB, apa kereta yang biasa dia orang guna kalau Sun W punya? Dulu dia orang guna banyak itu BMW kan? So I'm not sure whether BMW still comes under the Sun W group atau tak ada lah. Now maybe under Auto Bavaria. So I'm not sure whether the Bavaria is under Sun W or not, right? So you see ini Sun Motor, kebanyakan dia punya kereta semua yang import. So I would say that majority of which they could have also sell it to their internal. That means all their sister companies. Okay. Now ini Sun SJMC. Kalau dia punya pekerja semua ini Sun W punya group, let's say lah they got 50,000 employees lah, right? 50 pekerja, kalau apa-apa berlaku lah kesakitan atau mungkin nak dapat rawatan, yang pertama dia mesti masuk itu SJMC, okay? Dia tak mungkin Sun W ada apa-apa berlaku masuk Sunway Medical. Tak ada. Kalau boleh masuk Sun W dulu. You see that? So you see the Sun Medical Center, I would say that they are also quite a heavy dependency on all the employees from their groups, you know. Okay, you understand? So this is what they call the interdependency. When we work out the claim, we will also look at each and every of this subsidiary, how much they contribute to your profit. So like Mr. Tan, you said just now, among all your classes here, okay, your fire, your miscellaneous, your liability, and so on. So if anything happens to your fire portfolio, when we work out your loss, we will zoom into the fire. Oh, this one has a 40% on your income. Clear? So likewise for this clause. Faham? So this clause will only apply especially when a claim happens. All right, Mr. Tan, you clear? Okay, these are very specified. If you are talking about other groups like Sunway, also same thing, yeah. All the Sunway groups, Setia group, all very diversified. Okay, so kalau you nak bincang macam ni interdependency, you boleh gunakan example macam Sun W. Okay, it gives them a clearer picture. So kalau dia tak faham, macam saya gunakan you punya insurance, you punya agency kan, between your fire portfolio, your motor portfolio, then you'll be able to understand, oh, it's like that lah, yeah. Okay, Mr. Tan, I hope you are clear what I mentioned to you. Okay, departmental, let's use Ion. Okay, Ion, example, dia punya itu retail, okay. Dia pun dia punya electrical, dia punya ada supermarket. Alright, so you can see that in terms of their sales, one sales could be higher than the other. So macam insurance agency, your fire premium can be more than your miscellaneous. Your miscellaneous may be less than engineering. Your engineering premium can be more than your maybe your motor. Macam sama lah. Macam insurance company, the same thing, you know. Now, let's say for an insurance company, at the end of the year, dia declare, oh, kita ada underwriting profit lah. Okay, they say we make an underwriting profit of 20 million. Any underwriting profit is looking across the whole portfolio, fire, motor semua campur sekali, bottom line net, oh 20 million profit. Tapi kalau kita tengok ini 20 million, mana satu kelas yang tak untung? You tell me, among all the classes, which classes usually don't make money? Macam agents also same thing, your profit commission also depending on your claims, right? So which are the classes that you think don't make money? Banyak claim. I tell you honestly, the majority don't make money is, I would say motor, you know. Okay, example with all the recent flooding and so on, I tell you insurance is going to pay a lot in terms of the claims, right? So 20 million maybe fire, okay lah, 40% profit comes from fire. Then itu motor maybe minus 10, you know. Rugi. Dia tak ada profit, dia lagi rugi, you see. But kalau kita semua macam average, oh, company 20 million. No, when claims happen, we don't just look at the 20 million, right? We look at the individual department. Okay, so example here. So you see here, apparels, let's say their profit here is about 26%. I just agak-agak ni lah, right? And then this home basics, all their electrical is about 40%, right? And then their supermarket is about 20%. So if any claim happens, let's say at the supermarket section here, supermarket, right? Their profit is only 20%, but we cannot be using 30% to work out the claim. It's not fair. You hanya dapat RM20. So bila kita buat itu claim, nak kira itu claim, kita bagi you RM30. Tak boleh. Itu tak ngam ya. Then on the other hand, itu home basing, dia punya profit margin 40%. Dia ada banyak profit. Tapi kalau kita gunakan ini claim 30% to work out your profit pun tak ada kan. Saya dapat RM40, you bayar saya RM30 pun tak boleh. Alright. So this departmental means we will use the individual department to work out their profit. Okay, so kalau ini home basic, dia yang dapat profit yang tertinggi sekali. So bila claim berlaku, kita akan gunakan itu 40%. Okay, so that's example. But of course, we will use the average lah. If all after we add up everything, still some insured tak cukup, then we will still apply average. Okay, so that's example of departmental. Yeah. Okay, faham tak? Okay, just now siapa sini tulis motor Okay, motor lah. Motor doesn't make much money. Another class I don't think they make much money. I think is the medical. Okay, sekarang sebab ada banyak ini penyakit lah, banyak orang masuk hospital lah, ada banyak kemalangan So mungkin medical dengan motor tak banyak profit atau kurang. Okay, maybe your fire makes a lot of profit, liability makes profit, things like that. Yeah. Okay, so the next one we have this accumulation of stocks. Okay, so here let me just go through again. Accumulation of stock. Okay, bila berlaku kebakaran, itu insure mungkin ada stok yang tersedia. Okay, stok yang sedia adalah yang disimpan dekat gudang. So apa yang berlaku dekat kilang, right? So bila kilang dah terbakar, dia tak ada stok kan. So tapi dia punya gudang, dia ada stok yang sedia ada. So dia gunakan ini stok untuk sementara, dia gunakan itu stok, dia boleh jual kepada atau dia boleh supply stok yang ada kepada dia punya pelanggan untuk dapatkan itu sales lah. Okay, so nanti dah semua dah lebih kurang dah okay, bisnes dah sambung semula, itu stok yang sedia ada sudah digunakan. So dia mesti tambah balik kan. So bila tambah balik dia tak ada apa-apa nak tambah balik. So dia so meaning to say is whatever stock that they have already disposed of. Sorry someone is speaking behind
I'm trying to identify.
Okay, let me show you something. You can mute all first, then I unmute again. Okay. So this accumulation of stocks means that okay, first example, they expect the interruption period of 6 months, right? And then expected reduction in turnover is like 800,000. So the main 6 months interruption period is going to cause a shortfall of 800,000. Okay. Then what happened is that they have the finished stocks here, finished goods worth 200,000, which they can use to generate some sales. Sebab ini semua dah buat kan, so they can generate some sales. So because of the sales that they're able to generate from the stocks that they have, so it helps them to reduce the turnover. Okay, reduce the shortage in turnover by 200,000. You see that? Right? So what happened here is that the next one. So because they have used the finished goods here to maintain the sales, to generate some sales in order to reduce the reduction here. So when the business is back to normal, they found that they are short of the material or short of the finished goods, which they are meant to supply to another of their customer. All right. So because of the delay, because of the shortage in the stocks there, they got no choice. They got to reproduce again. So whatever loss sustained during this period when they need to reproduce the stock which they have used up, then we will compensate them. Okay. So whatever during that period, we will compensate them. Right. Because of the sales, they managed to reduce the turnover here. All right, so we will compensate them even after the indemnity period for whatever cost they may have to incur to be able to generate back the finished stock which they have already used up earlier. Faham tak? Macam seseorang lah, bila you minta macam advance payment right? Let's say lah during that month mungkin tak cukup wang kan, so you minta majikan boleh dapat itu advance dulu kah? right? So company give you the advance law. So after you get the advance already, then comes the next month again, we deduct your advance payment, you tak cukup wang kan? So it's the same process here. Okay, so there's accumulation of stocks. All right, the next one is the salvage sales. Okay, this salvage, normally for any insurance lah, kalau itu stocks yang total loss, itu kita bayar je lah, ya. Tapi kadang-kadang itu stok mungkin sebahagian yang rosak saja, atau mungkin itu stok sebahagian terkena air, so dia tak boleh jual lagi, ya. So itu stocks mungkin kita boleh lelong lah. So ada dua cara, insurer bayar semua sekali, yang total loss kita pun bayar, yang partial loss terkena air, terkena asap kita pun bayar sekali. Lepas itu kita akan ambil alih itu barangan yang sebahagian yang rosak saja. Okey, dan lepas itu insurer akan lelong lah. Tapi kadang-kadang insurer dia tak nak itu insurer ambil itu salvage, dia sendiri nak jual. Kalau mungkin dia sendiri jual, dia mungkin dapat harga yang lebih baik kan. So they will tell the insurer, okay, whatever salvage I will take back. Okay, whatever salvage I will take back, so I will do my own salvage sale. So if I manage to get anything higher than what insurer can offer, then whatever profit I make from the salvage sale, it belongs to me lah. Faham? Ini claim kita akan tolak saja. Okay, apa yang berkaitan dengan itu salvage lah. So you see, for this salvage, it's not fair for us to use your loss or gross profit from the salvage. Sebab itu salvage, mungkin harga yang you dapat tak penuh. Kalau bukan salvage, kalau macam itu barang yang baru, mungkin you dapat 100 sebagai itu profit. Tapi sekarang salvage, mungkin harganya tak tinggi, ya. So when you put out for lelong-lelong, people only offer you 20% of your actual price, mungkin you dapat kurang. So if you use that to calculate your loss or gross profit, it's not fair. Alright, so what we do is that whatever salvage is it, we will deduct from your claim here. Then after that, your own salvage dekat sini, own salvage. So you can do yourself lah. So insurer nak lelong-lelong, dia dapat itu profit yang lebih tinggi atau harga yang lebih tinggi, itu kita biarkan saja. Alright, so you see from here, here we just pay you accordingly. We less whatever salvage here, so you get only 300. Right? Yang ini 500,000 from your salvage, the one we leave it to you. Okay, faham? Alright, so the next one is your payment on account. So this one I already explained to you earlier. If you have a loss policy, we will try to make an upfront payment to make sure that the insurer can temporarily get their business moving. Okay? Okay, next one is the alternate basis trading clause. You remember just now I mentioned in your insurance is either depending on the policies, the number of policies sold, or based on the premium generated. Okay, so when it comes to claims, kalau itu profit kita berdasarkan kepada itu volume of material produced, then we work on the volume of material lah. Tapi kalau itu profit berdasarkan kepada itu revenue, then we will use the revenue. I hope you understand, like your insurance terminology. If you're working based on the premium generated, then you will base on the claim based on premium generated. If you are basing on the number of policies sold, then we will use the number of policies sold to work out your premium. Okay, so this example, yeah. Okay, accountant's clause is to help you to make sure that when they want to file a claim for the con loss, normally they would need to get an accountant to verify all those figures and so on. Now this accountant fee, you can actually insure them separately. Okay, item one, you insure gross profit. Okay, item 2, you can insure as wages. Okay, then item 3, you can insure the accountant and auditor fee. Atau item 4, auditor fee pun boleh. Okay, so this accountant fee will be paid in addition to whatever claim that you submitted. Clear? So accountant is just to verify all your figures, make sure it's correct. The auditor fee is just to make sure to certify whatever claim that you're going to make. Okay. Now, ini accountant and auditor. Let's see, accountants. What do I tell you? Okay. Comes to these con loss claims. Normally, you think, how long will it take to settle the con loss claim? Berapa lama nak settle ni con loss? Fire okay. Kalau physical damage, itu cost of repair, cost of reinstatement, itu okay tau. Tapi kalau con loss ini hanya berdasarkan daripada itu RM susah tau. How long you think it will take for them to settle con loss claim? Anyone? That's very important, my friend. Customer akan tanya tahu, kalau saya beli ni con loss, okey lah, masa you jual itu con loss, semua okey ya. Nanti ada claim saja, macam mana? Berapa lama dia ini claim boleh settle? So friend, what say you? 6 months? Oh, 6 months I think will be too soon. I tell you, Doreen, it's not easy to extract all these figures. It will take time. And then I can also tell you, bukan semua adjuster dekat market specialize in con loss claim. Bukan semua adjuster boleh buat con loss claim tau. Ini yang mesti ada itu specialist. Right? You need a specialist to actually work out the con loss claim. Right? So if you ask me, example, how long it takes, you can say 3 months, you can say 1 year, you can say 6 months, I can tell you it will take a bit of time, right? How long also depending on whether the insurer can justify or can sustain or whatever figures, pertaining to their loss. Not easy, especially when you're dealing with manufacturing. Dia ada banyak, dia punya ratio tak sama tau. Raw material, goods, the time cost of production lain, then after that semi-finish, banyak itu profit tau. So, what I would, if the client asks you berapa lama nak settle itu claim, I tell you it can take some time but you can always tell them, take advantage of the payment on account. So you tell them, kalau apa-apa yang berlaku kita akan macam bayar itu sebahagian dulu upfront payment, alright, up to 20% on your projected loss projected saja. So agak-agak kerugian berapa? So kalau customer katakan okay maybe 10 million agak-agak saja, okay? Agak-agak pending the investigation. Okay, if you can show me the book agak-agak is 10 million, then I will, based on the 10 million, I pay you the 20% first. Okay, so after that, you make sure that whoever is involved in the claims adjustment, especially the broker, especially the adjuster, they really need to find a way to speed up the claims. Okay, now I share with you one of my customer in Malacca. Dia punya kilang terbakar, okay, and the con loss comes to something like 5 million, right? So ini customer, dia tanya itu insurer ini 5 million, when can you settle the claim? Then insurer also say, oh, it will take some time. Oh no, I cannot afford to wait. Okay, every day is money, I cannot afford to wait for your company to confirm that how much is the loss. So apa yang dia buat okay, in this case can we counter offer or not? Insured suggest one, macam ni 5 million you pay me 85%. You pay me 85% of the 5 million. I just take the 85% of the 5 million, kau team no need to investigate. See that? Because they cannot wait, right? So what they do is that they just counter offer. You pay me 85% of the 5 million claim. We just take it and solve it No need to investigate further. Okay, yang ini of course you must make sure you get the company's approval. You jangan pandai-pandai say okay we settle 85%. Okay, jangan So that is another way to make it short to cut short the whole process. Yeah. Okay, so the next one we have is the new business. Now any business even less than 12 months, baru saja start business pun dia nak beli con loss pun boleh. Right? So kalau you suruh dia, okay, boleh tengok you punya last 3 years financial record. Saya tak ada, saya baru start business 6 bulan, 9 bulan dulu. Right? So kalau dia tak ada itu financial statement, no problem. We just do a projection. What is your projected gross profit? Kalau dia boleh macam bagi satu projection saja, then okay kita gunakan projection. After that year end we do adjustment. Tapi kalau dia kata, oh ini business mungkin tahun pertama 2 tak ada profit ini mungkin break even atau mungkin rugi mungkin tahun yang ketiga baru kita boleh nampak itu profit. Okay, so kalau dia tak ada profit untuk tahun pertama, yang kedua pun boleh kita insure hanya berdasarkan kepada itu fixed charges saja. Alright, you tell them if anything happens, what are those expenses that you still need to continue to pay? We insure only on that one. Alright, so 2 years later, if your business is good, your profit is there, then we can insure your gross profit, including whatever standing charges that you have. Right? Okay, so the last one, just to go through with you. Okay, I think also good to share with you comes to this gross profit how the claim is calculated. So I just give you some sample. Now, biasanya ini loss adjustment the adjuster will be the one doing it But I think it will be good to have a good idea of how the claim is calculated. I'm sure during your first two sessions, you may have come across these claims, but just to refresh you on this, now selling a con-loss policy is one thing. You must also understand, jual policy itu sebahagian saja, right? Tapi sebagai agent, kita pun mesti fahamlah kalau claim berlaku, apa yang kita bayar sebenarnya. Okay, remember, we are not paying for the reduction in turnover. Ada banyak yang salah faham tahu, kita bayar reduction in turnover. Sebelum kebakaran kita punya sales 1 million. Nanti claim berlaku hanya 600,000 saja. So kita ada kurang 400,000. Dia ingat dia boleh claim 400,000. Bukan itu. We are not paying for the reduction in turnover. We are paying only for the loss of the gross profit that you would have made from the turnover, not because of the fire. Okay, so a quick one here. Right, so example, gross profit last financial year is 1 million. Okay, the turnover last financial year. So when we say last financial year means, okay, let's say now is April. We are looking at 31st December. If the financial year is last year. Okay, we look at this record. 2021. Okay, we look at this record. So the gross profit, the rate of gross profit here is 20%. So itu profit how much they made from the last financial year means is 20% saja. So let's say out of 100 ringgit, they make only 20 ringgit. Faham? Just an example, when you're talking about the loss of business, let's say like for your insurance terminology, right? Your premium generator can be 1 million. So if that so happen, if the agent lost a portfolio, you cannot say, oh, my commission are 1 million, No, we are not looking at the 1 million production. We are looking at your commission you earn. Okay, so if your commission you earn, let's say is 20%, then we will pay based on the loss of the commission of 20%, not on the sales, not on the loss of the sales of 1 million. Okay, so example here, every 1 ringgit, our friend make only 20 cents. So we are looking at this 20 cents. Okay, how much of this 20 cents that you may have to pay for all your other expenses. Okay, right, so example, rate of gross profit is 20%. Right, so the next one, we take this 20% and apply to the reduction here. Okay, so this reduction here, this reduction is total is about 650,000 here. Okay, ini con loss, kita bukan bayar ini 650,000 itu bukan kita bayar. Kita akan bayar hanya itu 20%, okay, of that 650,000. Kalau bukan itu kebakaran, you mungkin dapat itu 20% punya profit untuk bayar you punya gaji dan sebagainya lah. Sebab kebakaran berlaku, stok pun dah kurang 650, you pun dah kurang untung itu 20%. Okay, so that's the 20% that we talk about. Okay, so all these standard turnover, actual turnover, I won't dwell further because that one I'm sure you already understand. Okay, now we use a 20% of that reduction. So now we have this amount payable is 130,000. Okay, so in your con-loss policy, we will pay for the rate of gross for the loss of gross profit as a result of number one, reduction in turnover. All right. So next one, of course, we also look at your sum insured, whether it's underinsured or whether it's overinsured or whether it's adequately insured. So example, if your sum insured is only 800 and the annual turnover, this annual is different from your financial year. This annual is we are looking at the last 12 months from the date of the fire, we work out, and it comes to 1.2. So now you have an average apply. So now we pay instead of 130, now we pay you this one. So here, if it's underinsured, what is the clause that I told you that we can use? What clause do you have here? I told you if overinsured, no problem. Overinsured, maybe the client pay a bit more premium. If it's underinsured, we still have this clause called upward adjustment. So if we put in 25% here, 25% upward adjustment, this amount would have increased by 25%. Okay, so 25% is how much? Maybe still underinsured, I think, still underinsured. But at least if you have a 25% here, make up to this, I think it's about maybe how much? 1 million? 160 and 90. Okay, let's say if I add in the 25%, it could have been 1 million here. All right. So even if you take 1 million over the 1.2, this claim here will still be slightly higher. You see that? Understand? So instead of 800, we take here 1 million. No? See, no? 1 million over 1.2 times this one, at least you still can claim a bit more. All right. So that's talking about average. Okay, your con loss covers item 2. Item 1 is loss of gross profit as due to reduction in turnover. The second one is what they call this increase in cost of working. So this is a separate item. We will pay in addition to the loss of gross profit just now. Okay, so meaning this increased cost of working means, okay, let's say you spend 25,000 to maintain a sales of 100,000. All right. So how much would that be? Okay, we have this economic limit, which I believe you also already know what is this economic limit. Since your economic limit is 20%, that's what you made last year. So if you spend 25,000 to maintain a sales of 100,000, do you think that you overspend here? Cannot. Whatever you spend to speed up your business, example, you cannot spend more than what you're supposed to enjoy. Okay, so let's say if you spend up to 20,000, it's fine. So your economic limit here is up to maximum 20% of the 100,000. The sales here, the maximum that you can spend is 20,000. So if you spend 25,000, sorry, we will limit only to 20,000. You understand this one? You cannot spend something more than what you actually enjoy. Okay, so there's talking about increased cost of working. Right, so basically your claim will come to something like this. Okay, so this savings means since you managed to generate some sales, you would have been able to generate some profit to pay for some of your fixed expenses. Okay, so since you got profit to pay for that, then the insurer will not pay that anymore. Okay, so now the claim comes to something like this. Okay, YB, so Wata, so more or less I have already completed my session here.
Okay.
Okay, so if there's any question, maybe we just open up for maybe 1 or 2 questions. Kalau ada.
Any questions from the floor? You may unmute yourself and ask, or you can type in the chat room. But I prefer you unmute yourself and ask a question better.
Okay, ada tak?
Any questions from the floor?
Kalau tak ada, Miss, semua dah super expert ya. Super expert.
Steven.
Yes, Tan. Yeah.
For the last questions, if the customer did cover with a account, what will affect the outcome?
If they cover the account, then
I heard that got another.
Otherwise, additional account.
Additional. Well,
additional account, that's additional something that you add on. So the account is insured separately. Let's say like just now, you supposed to spend maximum only 20,000, right? But now you incur 25,000, So if that 5,000, if the client has spent on something else to speed up the recovery process, right? Then you have another item called additional account.
So if the customer cover with additional account, can he claim fully 25,000?
No, that means the 20,000 will come under the account. The balance of the 5,000 will come under your additional account.
Okay.
Okay, over and above, anything over and above that 20,000, then you'll fall to the account.
Okay, got it.
The account means they could have spent something more urgently to speed up the business. Let's say, example, maybe they were only having one, maybe let's say they were buying some stocks, right? In volume, right? But now, because of the interruption, they got no choice, right? They got to go and buy separately. So you see, when you buy separately, it's going to be more costly than when you order in volume, right? Not? So he could have go and buy all these things at a higher price because I just need to get my production moving. So even though I go and source for the raw material, I have to pay higher, means I have to pay higher. You see that? So that's an example of something that they may spend over and above that the usual account. right? So that one can be insured as another item, additional item. So, Mr. Tan, are you selling a lot of con loss or not?
Few only.
Few, okay, that's the beginning. YB is like that. We can talk about, we can spend, so many sessions on the con loss. Honestly speaking, you have to start selling one. If you don't start selling one, I tell you, after 3-4 months later, we'll be back to square one. Okay, so take this opportunity to go and at least try to sell one simple one first lah. Okay, don't have to go for the manufacturer yet. Go for the simple one, get a feel of it, get a confidence of it. Once you manage to get one done, then you build the confidence to target the others. So if right now, if you are still not very, very comfortable, I know it's not easy, then you get your MO to at least to assist you first. All right, so from there, you slowly build up your confidence and try to go for this product. This is, I would say, this is a niche market. Not many people are selling this con loss. Not only this, not only fire con loss, what about machinery breakdown, loss of profit? A lot of people don't sell also, All right, now YB, I just to share, Fatah boleh 1 2 minute can Example
Sure, of course, sure.
You see, example like fire, right? We are talking about a fire damage that cause interruption to the business. Your fire con loss comes in. Now, what happens if the machinery are working on long hours, suddenly break down, no fire? Can they claim fire? Mr. Tan, breakdown, can they claim fire?
Cannot.
Boleh atau tak boleh? Tak boleh. Sebab fire, kita cover fire saja. So kalau breakdown, fire policy tak cover breakdown. So in order to claim for breakdown, you need to have a machinery breakdown. So when you sell to manufacturing, not only fire, you must also sell the machinery breakdown. So you tell them, if a fire happens, causes interruption, your fire con loss comes in. If the breakdown cause interruption, katakan the machinery breakdown, they need to import the parts in, right? So you see, to import the parts in, can you imagine? Because of that MCO, because of so many factors, right? By the time they bring in the machinery, they order from overseas to bring in the machinery. Let's say take you 9 months. By the time they fully install commission, 9 months interruption, So that 9 months interruption due to the breakdown, pay or not? Fire. Would they pay for breakdown? No, that one will come under your machinery breakdown, loss of profit. You got it? So if you can cross-sell the machine breakdown and the loss of profit, you're even better, friend. Not only fire, a lot of people only say fire, con loss, fire and con loss, but don't forget about breakdown also, So the breakdown is also next to fire only, If a breakdown, no fire, sorry, the breakdown policy pays. If breakdown, if just only a fire, then the fire con loss policy comes in. Okay, so there's a lot of way you can actually cross sell. Yeah. Okay, so I won't hold back YB. I won't hold back further. So for those who have attended today's session, thank you very much for your participation. Especially for Mr. Tan. Okay, very good for you to respond. And the rest, I'm not forgetting the rest, Miss Go and so on. Right. And for those who stay back until now, thank you for your patience. All right, Fatah, I'll hand back to you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Stephen.
Thank you.
That there's no more questions from the floor.
Thank you.
So, thank you, Mr. Stephen. I would like to echo
Thank you,
Mr.
Stephen.
Stephen again.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. I would like to echo Mr. Stephen. I would urge and encourage every one of you to start to put into practice what you have actually learned over the last 3 months and turn your knowledge into action, and try to generate income for yourself from what you have acquired over the last 3 months, right? So basically, as you know, this is an untapped market. So what you can do for start, you can basically revisit all your fire policies and extend your fire policies into con loss. Yeah. So for those who are still not very comfortable in selling this product, I'm very sure your marketing officers and your branch manager is more than happy to assist you in pushing this product. Okay. So with that, thank you everyone for your participation, attention given, and I hope to see you again in our future classes. Thank you, Mr. Stephen.
Okay, thank you. See you then. Thank you.